Hello everyone, and a very warm welcome to another live stream with me, 320 Sim Pilot. And today we are here in Toulouse to take the A300-600 ST Super Transporter, otherwise known as Beluga, up to East Midlands. Why not? I had a few people asking why aren't I doing one of the actual routes, but we've never done things too properly on this channel. So yeah, this is obviously the new release by Any Builds for any of you who haven't seen that already. And it's really quite something special. It's nice to see this airplane replicated in such a meaningful way in the simulator. So loads of things to talk about. Obviously we'll talk about a lot of it as we get going, but here is the outside visual model just for you guys to enjoy a little bit before we get started. Good afternoon to everyone in chat. Thank you all for coming along on this. What day are we on? We're on a Wednesday afternoon. I hope you're all doing very, very well. Good to see you, Dougal. Thanks for coming along and moderating. Chickpoint, John Padfield, Heather Van der Veen. Great to see you guys. Noah, I hope you're all doing very well. Kai as well. Great to see you here. And Guru, Dave, Victor, Michael, or Mikhail, sorry, and yeah, Lauren V. Thanks for coming along as always. Loads of people. I'm so sorry as ever if I miss any names. Great to see you guys here. It sounds like a rainy day all over the UK. Yeah, it certainly is where I am. And it'll be rainy in East Midlands, says Kai. Yeah, absolutely. Dave, hope you're doing well. Crosa Moon, good to see you. Richard V and Victor Tango, thanks for coming along and moderating along with Lizzo5. I hope you're all doing very well today. Streamlabs is awake, which is great news. So the route will be in there, !route, if you would like to see it. And if you do enjoy the video as we get going, do please remember to hit the like button. It always makes a big difference for the channel. Not Kermit the Frog, hello. Louis, hello to you. Jamie F, Tom, Raiden, Action Hines, Roy, Raymond, Rusty Dog. I hope you're all doing well. And Nice West and Swiss Pilots. Good day to you all. Right, there we go. So, A300-600ST, obviously it's a transporter. Now, this was recently released by Any Builds. We're a few days late to the party, so you may well know all the facts about this more than I do by this point. So, for those of you, I'm assuming some of my audience haven't seen much about this, I'll give the full speech anyway, so that people sort of understand it. This obviously is used by Airbus to transport oversized cargo around. It's got this huge addition to the upper fuselage, which allows them to load things in. And we're going to load something in very shortly to take it up to East Midlands. The plane isn't cold and dark. I've already powered it up just because, you know, we're going to do the loading as well. So I don't want to spend too much time on it. Yeah, it's a A300 that's been modified heavily. They made 5 of these. This is the old one. They've made the new one now, the A330, into a Beluga. So this one is going to be retired over the next few years, but still working quite heavily. In terms of what is actually A300 and what's modified, the fuselage along the bottom, the wings and the engine and the main landing gear are all pretty much A300 stuff. The tail is apparently from a A340, a little bit bigger, I suppose. And they've obviously added these fins for stability. We'll talk about that when we get going. The front here is all new to obviously make it fit. It's got to go down. So they have this flat floor in the cargo bay. And then you've got the cockpit, which is from an A300 as well. And we'll recognize a lot of the switches from our A300 streams. That's pretty much it. The top isn't pressurized. There's no doors, obviously. It's not designed for jet bridges or anything like that. So we are going to take a step in. Nice. It is a nice visual model they've done as well. If you get the reflections just right on it, you'll see all the little rivets and bits of dust and dirt and grime hanging down. Something I did find interesting as well is, look, the angle of attack sensors are all the way up here on the side of the Beluga sort of shape. They aren't down here where I'm used to seeing them at the front. You've got the pitos and things here, but the angle of attack they put all the way up there. I'm sure there's a reason. I'm sure lots of clever engineering and thought processes went into this. Swiss Pilot, yes, we can load the plane, and we will shortly. So, yeah, the people in the hold, don't worry. Actually, no, yeah, sorry. No, only the flight deck is pressurized on this one. And today, obviously, no seats, so all of you are going to be sitting in a bit cold. Right, you can walk around, obviously, but it's going to be easier if I do the cockpit view. So, yeah, so those stairs bring you up, which is the only way in and out. They bring you up here, and there's a little lever here. And what's nice about this model is it's all interactive just by clicking on it. So there you go. And there is underneath. But what we're going to do is go upstairs. So this isn't pressurized, this area we're in now. There's like an emergency escape there. It's just sort of this fuselage bit that would normally be a cargo hold. And up we go. I got a lot of my information from the Indie Builds video they did on this, which was very good. So yeah, I'm sure if you've watched that, you've seen a lot of this. What you can do is come up here and we can actually turn on some lights. There we go. Light the cargo hold. Pretty cool. I always like that. Having actual clickable interactive details in the cabin is nice. This area one I think does this light up, these lights up here. And I think we can open this door. I'm going to flick that or move the guard up, and there it goes. Look at that. Amazing piece of design and engineering. I have seen one of these in flight. It was really good. I really remember it because it's just so spectacular to see. That seems to have paused there, so I'm sure I'm doing something wrong. But anyway, maybe we'll close that and let it do it its own. It's got an automated system anyway. Because I was a little bit worried when I first saw this add-on. I thought, oh, well, maybe it's going to be too difficult to sort of fully understand, or how to make all the scenery work and make all this stuff work. But actually, they've done a really good job on it. So let's jump back in the flight deck. Okay. So this plane's powered up. We're sitting on the ground power. The IRSs are in a line. I've set up the overhead panel pretty much. We just need to do the MCDU, which we'll do while we're loading, and the FCU up here, and then we're going to get the engine started and ready to go. So if you go to the EFB, we'll go to ground ops. Minimalistic, hello to you. Thanks for coming. Western Australia. I hope you're doing well in Australia. Excellent. Kai, good to see you. If I didn't say hi to Kai. Brianna, good to see you as well. Hope you're doing well. Excited for another stream. Excellent. Thanks, Brianna. Thanks for coming along. And I have been meaning to answer your email. Yeah, absolutely. Chick Point says there is plenty of space in the hold. You just need to hold your breath. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So let us go to ground services. I've got external power chocks. Don't let me click any of those because it will all go very wrong. But you click on loader and you choose what you want. Now I'm going to load in an A380 tail, which is very light. You'll notice the weight of all these things, 9 tons, 8.6 tons. The heaviest one, the space station, at 18 tons. So that they're not overly heavy. I think it can take up to like 40 tons, something like that. But it's just oversized cargo is what it's used for. It's not a heavy lifter as such. There we go. We'll take the tail because I've got a livery on that, and then you go request loader. And what it does is it appears in front of you. It's all automatic, really nice. And as you do that, if we go onto our doors page, there it is. You can see the front door has opened. Hopefully that pop-up works for you. Let me just check. Let me know as well. There is lots of good sounds going on, so you guys can tell me if the audio is working and you can hear the sounds. Okay. So there goes that door. And there's our tail fin, and you can change the livery on this just by downloading it, and they tell you in the README file where to put it, which is quite good fun. Also, speaking of liveries, I really wanted to use the old Super Guppy livery. So this was brought in to replace the Super Guppies, which are Boeing modified aircrafts, which Airbus were using before they got the idea to do this. So this was made by a sort of group that was set up specifically to design and make this aeroplane, and that's what static is. But yeah, they realised they didn't want to. Well, lots of reasons, I'm sure, but they didn't choose to use a Boeing airplane to make their airplanes anymore. So that's all going on, and this is pretty automatic, although we'll have to actually tell it to load in a second. You can see our lights where we left them on. Kodeko says, I'm blown away by the realism of this. Never thought flight sim would be this advanced. No, I didn't think we'd see this sort of thing. It's crazy. So you sit here, and there goes our tail. Whilst that's doing that, what I'm going to do is we will... we'll leave that. We might go and have a look at it once it's in. Let's just close this stair so you can click on this. So you see what I mean? It's much more straightforward than I imagined. This is a bulkhead here, so it's important we close this door to pressurize. I saw that on Flight Deck to Sim stream. He took off on one of them, and this door didn't. If you don't close the door, it will actually not pressurize, which is pretty good, adding to the realism. And while they do that, we are going to get finished on the setup. So what else is new? There's a few new textures on the overhead panel. They've changed some systems around that are different in this airplane to others. They've changed the windows and decals, things like that. But most noticeably, probably, is going to be these radio stacks. Now they're not all that shockingly different. Swiss Pilot says, "Can we go up? What would you like to do? Where would you like to go up to? You want to go back up into the hold?" But what I'll show you here is, before we do that, we'll go MCDU. Menu. No, we won't do that. We're going to go to ACARS menu, and then I've got my SimBrief username, and then I go request company route, and watch this. Up here, It says Align IRS, but I'll clear that out. That's an old message. It goes company route, uplink done. And there we go. Toulouse to East Midlands. It's got Costa X42, flight level 340, and our flight ID all loaded in. Isn't that good? So now we have sort of SimBrief integration. Very easy. You just set your SimBrief name into the iPad. So that's nice to see that they've done. Otherwise, this isn't all that exciting. I leave it on tune, and to change things, you have to click it and go into the menu, and then you can set the TCAS view and traffic on and off. So I'm going to put traffic on already. Why not? Things like that. There is a whole pre-programming system as well, where you can select on one. Then I could do a common preset, and I could put 122.8 in there. As a preset, but there is a way you have to write it in, which I'm not obviously getting right. I don't know how useful that is, but anyway, it's modelled, they've done it, and the real airplane had it, so that's a good job all round, definitely. Right, next is finish that MCDU setup. So there we go. So there's our init page. We'll go to the init B page, and we'll just make sure we have this right. So back on our EFB, ground ops, load sheets. And as you can see, so that I've got 20 tons of fuel, because I'm not entirely convinced the flight planning's worked properly, so I'm going to go with loads of extra fuel. SKW says, are you using the TCA with this? I cannot configure reversers at all. Hoping for some pointers for this great community. Side stick only, so need to configure the D10 if possible. Side stick only to get reversers, I don't know. I've got the throttles as well, and I can do the throttles and reversers, I'm afraid. But side stick only, yeah, someone else might need to help you with that, I'm afraid. Sorry, yeah, I haven't tried with the just the throttle. I use a little throttle slider for my speed brakes. My Own Way says, cheers for your videos, learned to fly the A320 NEO in FS 2020 using your videos, invaluable material, thank you. You're very welcome, thanks for coming along and saying so. Oh, they're giving up. No, what's going on there? Don't do that. Not sure why they're doing that. So what we'll do, you can just press reset. Right, request loader, and this time we'll focus on it, make sure it actually happens, and it will drive up. The magic is you can always reset it. You can tell it different cargoes, obviously. So important things here. The cost index doesn't actually matter. It doesn't work because this airplane they never coded the software to account for the sort of weird shape of it and so on. So it's got its own performance manuals to work instead. So yeah, so don't get too bogged down in what's going on in here. Align IRS, we can do that. There we go, that's working. GPS primary, good stuff. Other than that, init A is done. So flight plan, let's check. Now there's no ATC here, I don't think, but they are expecting. Oh, let's just check the winds. Variable 2 knots cover. Okay, so we'll take off northerly. We'll go straight out. Why not? So let's depart from. We'll go from. Oh, let me just check. I think we'll just take off from the left. 32 left. Why not? Why not? So that's going to be from 32 left. Black 5 Quebec. Seems to be available for us here as well. So select 32 left. This is all pretty straightforward stuff. This is pretty... there's a temporary SID actually, but yeah. So we'll set that. We'll see it appear here. Well, that's a big nav display. We don't need it to be quite that big. There we go. Nav actually upgraded. Always nice to hear. And insert. So there's our departure. We'll just run through that now while we're here before that loader gets in place. So we're going to take off 1,500 feet, get above that, then make a right turn, BO320, BO322, 334 track all the way up to Lacao, and initial climb clearance is flight level 70. Now that the the IRSs are aligned, we can turn on pitch trim, and that will bring us our FCU, and I can put in 70. Zoom. There it is. Okay, so that's the sort of SID accounted for, and then there's our route. Takes us all the way up to Hemel, and then there's a little end part of the route which we're not actually going to fly because Hemel is the start of the arrival into East Midlands anyway, is my understanding. There we go. If I scroll through, there it is. Right. Oh, I wonder what was just a display. Don't know. How odd. Next page. Next page. No. Cool. Right, so alternate today. I think it's Doncaster, Echo, Golf, Charlie, November. There it goes. Right, so that's pretty much the start. So the load is coming into place. So as soon as it does, I'm going to select load to make sure it works properly. MV Flyer says, should I use dev version of A320X? At this point, the dev version is a bit, yeah, it's quite far ahead compared to the stable build. Yeah, certainly. I am going on to VATSIM, ODG John. Yep, this is on VATSIM today. ODG John says, g'day mate, loving the content, quantity and quality. Thanks very much, John, really appreciate it. Thanks for coming along today. Yeah, it's been a little while since we've done an X-Plane stream, so it's good to be back on it. James says, glanced over for a second and thought we were slowly rolling forward like someone left the parking brake off or something. Hell of an illusion with the cargo loader. Yeah, it is. It is quite an illusion. It's especially when you're sitting in there. What we'll do while they're doing that, let's get that APU up and running. So you flick the master switch to on. Sometimes it gives me a low pressure warning first, but anyway, master switch, and then we'll go start. Thanks for your subscription to Marcus and Marco, and also to Shogun and the pilots. Thank you very much. Rock on, good to see you. Thanks for coming along. I hope you're doing well. Right. Oh, sun visors work now. Ah, very good. I didn't know that. Okay, so now I'm going to click load. And this way. Oh, there you go. There is another Beluga. And now I'm hoping I've got the CSL pack that's going to make sure that works. So now they're going to roll it on, which is pretty good fun. Brianni says, is this the day we're going to hear the demo PA? Oh, goodness me. I keep forgetting about that. Not today, I'm afraid. I totally forgot. And on comes our fin. This happens quite quickly when it does get moving. So as you can see, you know, you don't need anything, and this is, I'm just using default X-Plane scenery in Toulouse, and I thought you'd need to download all sorts of things to make this work, but nope, this all comes with the airplane. You just press request loader and it just appears in front of you. Sometimes, you know, it's in a building, so I had to find a stand I could fit it onto, which is why I'm over here on the Airbus edge, or Airbus side. And on it comes. Now, am I right in thinking that any builds are working on an A380? That is massive, isn't it? That tail. And if we go, actually, let's go to the... That's how big it is as it squeezes in. Just insane. It really barely fits. They have to take off the bottom of the rudder. Matteo, good to see you. Thanks for coming along and moderating. We are getting closer to 40,000 Mako Air. Yeah, we are indeed. If we get to 40,000, long haul stream is on the way. And there it goes. Not too bad. It's pretty simple. And I think the rest will happen automatically. So we could close the door. We can turn these lights on and off if we want. Let's turn the lights off now. Leave it sitting there in the dark. And we're going to try and get up to East Midlands. I don't know why. We're just imagining there's some 380 in East Midlands without a fin. Let's close the trap door. We've closed the ground stairs. Let's close up this one. We're getting ready to go here. Slam. Right. APU is available. APU generator is online. So we get rid of the external power. Next slight difference to this aircraft. If we look at the air conditioning, we can put the APU bleed on. It goes through all these. This is quite a complicated bleed panel. It is on the A300 as well. But what you can see is pack selector 1 or 2. And that is because you don't need both packs to pressurize just a little cockpit. So you just choose one or the other. So it still has both, probably because it's more work to take it out. But yeah, you can just select one. I suppose you want a backup as well. So you do want the flight deck to stay pressurized. And that is all looking pretty much set up. So let's finish up with this. So we've got our flight plan, we've got a departure, diff secondary. I'm just going to copy the active, radnav. We can tune that down here anyway. But yeah, it's an RNAV departure as it is. And it B time. Now I think that's all loaded in. I don't want to unload, don't want to reset. So I'm hoping that would just go away now and leave our fin on board. I'm not entirely sure, but we'll worry about that shortly. Yeah, I did do this before and it all worked out. I promise I tried this. So load sheet, that's what we're finishing up. So we've got our payload on board. We've got our fuel, 20 tons, and I can see that on our overhead fuel panel, 20 tons of fuel. Let's go, send to takeoff Perth. Right. We're taking off from LFBO. Always got to press enter, which is a bit strange, but there we go. 3-2 left, there it is. ATIS request, and it should load in the weather. It's all pretty straightforward. Matteo says you do need to dismiss the loader in the FB. Okay. In a second, I'll take you up on that as I try and work it out. Matteo, how do I do that? How do I do that? Joyce the Moon says 320 Simpilot is Loadmaster now. Yeah, exactly. We'll do a flat 15 and 0 flap, so just some slats, because we're so light today. I don't see why I would do anything different. It's 15 degrees, as you can see. Wind is 140. Also a little bit taily for that departure, just by 2 knots. Rihanna says, since you like trivia, did you know the size of the space shuttle is around the same size of the A320? I believe this means you can probably fly it too. Yeah, I can believe that actually. Yes, but I have seen a space shuttle up close, and they are incredible. They are big, but they're also, I suppose, the 320 is a big thing. Oscar, thank you very much for your €10 donation. Really appreciate it, Oscar Lambrecht. Always very generous. Thank you so much. I hope you're doing well, and thank you for donating towards the channel. I really appreciate it, Oscar. Thank you very much for coming along to the stream today. I hope you're enjoying it. Right, everyone's saying remove loader. Ground ops. Ground services. How do I do that? Remove loader. I see. There we go. And now that'll leave my fin on board. Excellent. Thanks very much. Yeah, Oscar, thank you very much. Really appreciate it, and I hope you're doing very well today. Very kind of you. Right, so that loader will go away, and I think they'll close up that door. You see here we've got our init B to do, so let's go back to our load sheet, finish that up. Ground ops. Load sheet. Swiss Pilot says, are you flying with the Thrustmaster stick, or do you have a yoke for Boeing's and old Airbus? No, always with the Thrustmaster. Yep. Thanks for the help with the loader, guys. So yeah, I have managed, I promise. Okay, so we've done that. So I need to put in here my 0 fuel weight 92.4. So still pretty. It's a heavy machine. There's no doubt about it. Block fuel 20 tons. Oh no. Takeoff gross weight 112, landing weight 103, maximum flight level 345, optimum 33, and we planned actually at 340, so that could be a bit of a stretch. We'll see what happens. I'm not entirely sure what this airplane's like. I don't tend to remember seeing them this high up, so I'm a little surprised about it. But there we go, we've got loads of extra fuel because I'm worried about traffic and also my numbers being complete nonsense. Yeah, I don't want to get it wrong. But yeah, thanks for your help, Matteo, and thanks again to Oscar for your donation. Really appreciate it. Domingo Da Vinci says, hope you're doing well. Thanks for coming, Domingo. Domingo says, the PA-28R from Just Flight is out today, finally. Excellent. Yes, I saw that they didn't quite manage yesterday, so that's great news. So you guys who are interested, there you go. The Arrow is out. It's great. I had great fun with it on that group flight we did on Sunday. That's init B. So finally then, performance. Now, as I said earlier, a lot of the information we're using here is irrelevant, cost and X and so on, because there's no vertical profile mode. This button here doesn't do anything. They've written it up. It doesn't work, because this airplane isn't tuned for it. So we've got flight level change and we've got vertical speed, just so sort of basic modes. There it goes. More disorientating illusions. So let's go to, finally then, it's departure, it's takeoff approach, that's what it's called on this one. Right. So back to our performance, takeoff Perth, and now we can say sends data, and we say send to FMS, and it copies it over. But what we also need to do is preset. We need to get V2 up here, and we decided V2 is going to be 166. Oh, pretty fast, yeah. 166. And a flex of 60. So let's put that in on our little thrust reference panel. Now this isn't automatic anymore either, so we do flex 60. This panel, we have to remember at 1,000 feet, I'm going to need to press for climb thrust. So very important. So there we go. We're looking for 95.8 target thrust on takeoff. To get toga, you press this little button here. Again, this airplane, you know, it's not as bad as it seems once you get used to it. Anyway, there we go, 166. But most importantly, sending it to the FMS isn't good enough. We've got to send it to the little cards, and then it appears down here. And this is because this is what the real pilots would have used or do use. They don't take it from the FMS. So we have our flat retraction speeds here. Interestingly, they are nearly always lower, I've been noticing. So if you look, our clean speed, our green dot speed is 212, but on here it's 194, which really surprised me. Yeah, I didn't expect it. But there we go. I don't have Volanta yet, Kai, but I've been looking into it. I have been looking into it. Danny says, yeah, the Arrow is great. Unfortunately, a sober broke the sim for me with yesterday's update again. Oh dear. Yeah, I did do the update, but I haven't tried anything else. Gross the Moon, yeah, the illusion is quite something, isn't it? So there you go. So weirdly, instead of having to be going faster, we need to, we can actually bring the flaps a little bit earlier. But anyway, there we go. Trim 1.0 down. Let me just take a note of that. And our call sign. I saw loads of Belugas on the VATSIM map that I use, so that's good. We aren't alone. Anyway, I don't think there's anyone for us to talk to here. Let me just check that no air traffic has come online. No, so I have got my little checklist out here. Yeah, good stuff. Right. Warnings. I do have to follow this checklist quite carefully. So I've got it, you can't see it on the screen, but I have got the sort of expanded checklist. So that's going away. And there comes our hold, finishing up. Very slow. It's an electric motor, I believe, that does that door. Bradley McWilliams, thanks for coming along. Bradley says $45 is a bit steep for one plane though. So this is, yeah, I can see that. It's cheaper than the A300. So if you like this sort of generation of aircraft, it's a cheaper aircraft, but you just get this one thing. Obviously, you don't get the cargo and the passenger variants. And it's more up to date, but then they're going to update the A300 with some of these features. So, you know. There we go. Sealed up. APU's on. We can get rid of that GPU. Ground ops, ground services. So let's get rid of center power, chocks, and fuel track. It's just us now. Okay. So we're going up to flight level 70 initially, and we're going to depart runway 32. So let's put in the runway heading into here. Got to think more basic with this airplane. Not sure what the runway heading is. Well, we can check. Probably would do it properly. 322 initially. 322, there we go. Oh, that's a track, but anyway. So, we've got our thrust set in there. We're going to set the flaps, brakes and skid it on. There's our memo. Okay, I think we're pretty much ready to go. So we're on 1228, and then just press tune here to get back to the main menu that you need, really. What I can do actually is let's put the transponder to HC1, yeah, norm, fine. X test, no. Standby, it's on standby, press that, it's in TARA. Oh, I'll just leave it on TARA now. Get pretty much ready to go. And there we go, we can see some traffic over there on the apron. That's pretty good, the TCAS is working. The first officer is sitting here with me today. Yeah, she's all ready for the flight today. Unusually, it's been a while, she's usually tucked away somewhere snoozing. Right. Lauren V says, I heard you get a discount on the Beluga if you have the standard A300. Yes, you do. Yep, you get a nice discount. You just got to make sure, if you want to get the discount, make sure you log into your account properly on the IndyBuilds website, and then it will automatically recognise. Don't use the quick checkout. You're going to have to use the sort of slightly slower checkout. But you can still use PayPal and everything. Andy Robinson, thank you very much for your $9.99 donation. Really appreciate it. Andy says, catching some of the stream while home on lunch. Have to catch the rest later. Looking forward to it. Thank you so much for your donation, Andy. Really appreciate it. We'll see you again later. And yeah, enjoy your lunch, and we'll see you again. Or I'll see you in the replay. Thanks for coming along, Andy, and thank you very much for your donation. Really appreciate it. Very kind of you. Thank you. Right. Let me just finish my little checklist. So, radar trim 0. That's down here. Oh, it wasn't quite. There we go. It is now. Radar's off. FMS route, weather. Oh yeah, last thing we need to do the weather. So ACARS, request wind data, and it should load it in for that whole flight. Don't know how long it may or may not take. There we go. Is that another nice little feature they've added? I'll go back to tune. Thank you very much, Andy, for your $9.99 donation. Really appreciate it. Thank you. No, there's no Beluga here. We're actually on our own on this side of the apron, for those of you wondering. So there is a Bluebell model. So I'm hoping, if I installed it right, I did see a BG8. No, it's not working. That's a shame. I don't know what I did wrong. I knew I'd done something. Right, let's get better push back up. We are pretty much ready to go.
Go on to cockpit. Please show me where you want to go.
Hey, we got a nice French pushback driver. That will do nicely.
Go on to cockpit. Tow is driving up.
QNH1020. Okay, let's run our checklist, which we can actually bring up here quite handily. Checklist. So before I start checklist, copy prep completed. Fuel quantity, we've got our 20 tons. Takeoff data is set on both sides. So we got our V2 up here. And something we can do is if you go preset, my understanding is I can then wind this to 250. But that may be a little bit advanced. But that's going to be obviously our climb on route speed. Let's see if that works. Anyway, back to the checklist. Takeoff data set. Landing elevation. Oh, landing elevation. There's a good one. I haven't set that, so let's see where I've missed that. I'm not sure about that. Is there anywhere I can set that on here?
Okay, all doors and hatches are closed, easy to connect.
I'm pretty sure that's taken from the FMC in this one as well. Or am I talking complete nonsense? Anyway, I can't see a window to select it up here. Got temperatures, packs. No, no. No, that's fine. Okay, well, we'll see later on. Altimeter is set, 1020. Brake anti-skid is on. Norm, windows, doors closed. Beacon and parking brake. So, final steps then. Beacon on, parking brake to release. So, let's just wait for the ground crew to tell us. Lauren V says, day one of the Beluga, there were like a dozen online already. Yeah, yeah. Steven says, not working for me either. Okay, yeah. Yeah, it's a shame. I thought... Ooh, that's caused a bit of damage. Maybe we should have used their own pushback system. Right, brakes released. Off we go. And we can start the engines. So engines start. Are they clear? Yeah, they're clear. So, pretty old school way of doing it. We're going to select an ignition system. Let's go for ignition system A. And we'll start engine 2 first. So, you literally press start. This is like a manual start in a modern Airbus. Engine page, there it is. Spinning, and we need it to get to 20% N2. So there's our N2, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Fuel on. Should see some fuel flow. There's EGT, so the fuel is ignited. Fuel flow is still not registering, but that, you can see the needle is not at 0. Yeah, so it's registering something. Oh, that's fuel used at the bottom. There we go, yeah. Starting up nicely. Let me just check. Yeah, still no one here in control. Better pushback are working on a tug for the Beluga. There you go, Warren Smith. Thank you. So you guys always have all the information that I'm missing. Above the landing gear, above the thrust settings. Ah, there it is. Yes, thank you. Oh. Great. Let me just check. Not like that. Not like that. Oh, why does it do this? Search. There we go. It's my fault, as always. EGNX. Not LGNX. More haste, less speed. 300 feet. There it is. Excellent. So, here we go. We're pushing back here. Let's get that other engine started. Same as before. It's still set. We just press this start button up here. Still using ignition system A. And let's wait until we see N2 reach 20.
Operation complete. Set parking brake.
There's the parking brake. In real life, you always look outside before doing that. Because you can't really tell looking forwards if you're still moving slightly. So you have to look outside, and that's the only way to really judge it. Right, 20% N2. We're over that. Let's get the engine master on. And spooling up. Fluff42, thank you very much for your Swiss francs, 10 Swiss francs. Thank you very much, really kind of you. Fluff says, I've been watching your videos for a little while and really appreciate the depth they've added to my sim experience. That's very kind of you, Fluff. Thank you very much for your donation. Really appreciate it. And I hope you're doing very well. And thank you for coming to say so. And thank you for your donation. Really appreciate it. Very kind. I hope you're doing well. There we go. Engine's up and running. Tug's going to disconnect. Yeah, Mateo's answered your question, Superfly, but yeah, you can't use brake max for landing. It's just not designed for it. It's just for a rejected takeoff. Nice sound effects on this one. Off they go. That beacon all the way out there. That is quite comical. There goes the Alitalia. Way ahead of us. I'm taking too long. So in terms of modes, you can see that there's just no profile mode to put. There is a nav mode we can arm, but otherwise it's in vertical speed, but I think that's going to change to SRS automatically when we try and take off and set toga. Good stuff. Right. Those engines have started. That can go off. Ignition system as required. APU bleed can now come off. The packs will be supplied by the engines, which is, you know, what we'd expect. APU master can come off. Let's just check. Are all the generators online? Yes, they are. So I'll turn off the APU. Anti-ice we don't need. It's a lovely day here. Speed brake arm. Very Airbus speed brake. There we go. Rudder trim reset. Check to 0. There it is. Slats flaps. Let's set them. So just one stage, which will give us slats 15, which you can see on this little dial here. 15 slats, 0 flaps. Trim, we said 1.0 down. And I think we can see that on the dial. 1 down, there it is. Great stuff. Right, time to head out. So we're just going to taxi over. Need as many iPads as possible. Let's do... we could do a Sierra 3. It's a 3,500 meter runway, so if we take off from Sierra 3, I'm sure that'll be fine. So we're going to go not there. Or are we going to go there? Ooh. No, there's Sierra 3. Yep, Sierra 30. So it's right turn. Yeah, good stuff. Okay, now we're back to sort of normal things. We'll put the taxi light on. Put the runway turn-offs on. Now I'm hoping I've got my brakes set right, although the cat is still on my lap, so it's making it a little bit tricky to use the rudder pedals. But hopefully we can get through the takeoff without having to disturb her too much. Brakes released. Away we go. Great sound effects on these engines. So we're quite light, so no problem at all getting underway. You know, we've got engines that could take a whole load of fuel, passengers and cargo. And all we're trying to do with them is fly a fin off another aeroplane. We'll have plenty of drag when we get up in the air though. I can't believe the Bluebell model didn't work. I really thought I'd cracked that one. Yeah, the throttle quadrant does work just fine, but you've got to follow the instructions for the A320 if that's what you're planning to use it for. Right, let's get some flight controls done. Actually, on this one, it's not automatic. I need to go down here. I need to go flight control. And then you can see, there you go. So ailerons. Those ailerons are the inboard ailerons. There's no outboard ones. Elevator down, up, and rudder is attached. Let me check my brakes are working actually. Let's do a little brake test. Yes, they are, thank goodness. And we'll do full right, full left. Cat is now getting very upset. Neutral. I have got... Oh, actually I don't have my rudder assigned to my side stick, so maybe I should do that. Certainly for next time. Anyway, flight controls are all working. There's Sierra 3 for 3-2 left. I get rid of flight control. Just leave it on whatever it wants to be, so it wants the wheel page. Jumbo Humpel says, thank you very much for your 10 Swiss franc donation. Really appreciate it. They say, I was always interested in flight sim, but since I watch your videos, I've made so much progress in understanding more and more about flying and procedures. Thank you very much for all the content. You're very welcome. That's great to hear. Thank you so much for your donation, Jumbo Humble. Really appreciate it. And thanks for coming along to the stream to say so. And thank you for being kind enough to donate. Very kind. Thank you. Right, maybe we'll beat that Beluga out. But yeah, really appreciate it, Jumbo Humble. Thank you so much. thank you to all of you watching. Yeah, and please do hit the like button if you are enjoying the video. It makes a big difference to the channel. So yeah, if this is the sort of thing you like, please do hit the like button. Yeah, I wanted to use the Super Guppy livery for this flight, but then I couldn't resist this one because this is where my channel started. We had this Airbus house livery on... Oh, better bring it to a stop. Oof. Yeah, we had this Airbus house livery and we had it on the 321, the Toliss 321, so I couldn't resist going back to it. Right, we'll let these other airplanes take off. So there's an Air France, there's another Beluga. I've not heard anything. We are on the radio. Am I not listening properly? No, we're not listening properly. Why am I not listening? How do I hear them? Aha. Now we might hear something. So this is all very fancy, but it doesn't really do anything except except tune it. Vladimir says, hi, have a great safe flight. Thank you very much, Vladimir. Really appreciate it. You didn't miss the flight, Daniel. We're about to take off. We're just waiting for our colleagues to go first. Alex UK, thank you very much for your £10 donation. Really appreciate it. Alex UK been supporting the channel very generously. Alex says, hello, hi, 320 Sim Pilot. First live stream I've been able to catch since passing out. Now able to drive trains solo now. Anyway, have a coffee or tea on me. Thank you very much, Alex. Alex has been working hard towards becoming a train driver. So yeah, fantastic. Great to hear that you're able to do that now. And thank you so much for your continuous donations. Really kind of you, Alex. Very, very generous. And thank you so much for contributing again towards the channel. And I hope you enjoyed the stream. Good to have you back again. The thing does wobble when you brake. Yeah, it's just so light, I suppose. Right, I'm not sure if Air France is going. Have I missed... No, there's still no tower. Lauren V says, Paddy's Super Guppy era 320 NEO livery looks gorgeous. There you go. Paddy's already done one, has he? Yeah. Excellent. Now, are people... Air France is going. Good stuff. Toulouse traffic, Beluga 260, lining up 32 left for a Lacau departure. I'll just announce something. Brakes released. It's clear on the approach. Strobes on. Landing lights on. We're just going to line up. We can take our time. Don't want to be too close to that one. Right, after start. Oh, we should have done that. Pitch trim, rudder trims, spoilers, arms, slats, flaps, ECAM, anti-ice and hand signal. We did. Before takeoff, flight controls we've checked. Flight instruments are checked. Briefing confirmed. V1, VR, V2, flex temp all set. Slats, flaps are at 15 and 0. And takeoff config, which is hidden down here in this airplane. Takeoff test normal. Great news. Transponders set, I think. TCAS is to TARA already. Ah, here we go. This is what we're missing. So auto brake max. That comes on. And ignition, I think we're quite happy to leave it off for this one. Where's our Beluga colleague? They were over there. Oh, they might have disappeared. Or maybe I've disconnected. Equally possible. Right, ready to go. Yeah, so if you look outside, you'll see that our... we have limited flight control services. There's no aileron. They think they just figured it would be fine to do it with just the spoilers. Roll spoilers and inboard aileron. Some nice reflections there on the windshield. I haven't seen those before in X-Plane. That's quite cool. Okay, the cat's getting really upset now because I'm really having to use the pedals. There we go. So we are now lined up. I'm going to do a standing takeoff just to make sure I know what I'm doing. Johnson says, when would you leave ignition on for a takeoff? In the 320, it's if there's heavy rain or icing, something like that. Now, we don't normally take off in heavy rain because it probably is a bad sign and not a reason to go flying that second. It doesn't usually last for long. So, yeah, maybe if you had flooded runway or a contaminated runway with snow and it's something like that that you're worried about ingesting into the engine during takeoff. Let's put constraint up there. Actually, that's something we would normally do. I'm just trying to think of it from an Airbus perspective now. So we've got 7,000 feet stop altitude. We're going to make that into standard when we get underway. You can see the alt and nav are armed, but we're currently in vertical speed and heading. But when we take off, that should change to SRS, is my understanding. Good stuff. Right, I am going to set that for a second. I'm sorry, Cat. I'm really sorry, but I just need to move you just for a second. There we go. Let's see if we can take off now. Right. Yep, she's given up. She's had enough of all the movement. Right, there we go then. Who's ready to go to East Midlands? Pretty straightforward, hopefully. Who knows though. So brakes released. We finished our checklists. Transponder, TCAS, auto brake ignition. We have indeed. Right. Let's go. So, stand up the thrust levers. Forward pressure on that stick. But I have to actually abandon that for a second because I'm going to press this. There's takeoff, so we get thrust SRS heading on the PFD, which is great news. Looking for 95.8 N1, so hopefully it will get to that on its own. It does take a while to spool up though. It does take a while. Takeoff inhibit, which is fine. Great noises. Right, 80 to 100 knots, stick to neutral. There's 95.8, so it's done that all on its own, which is great news. We are really soaring along. It is quick. No surprise there. It's just got so much power and no weight to it. So these speeds work. V1 and rotates. Up we go. Huge great runway. They can test 380s here if I keep pulling. And positive climb. Gears coming up. Let's keep pitching up. Now it is a proper aeroplane, so I need to do all the pitch power couples. Bit more trim needed. There we go. Get it onto those flight directors. So we're in SRS, and this is how it's going to stay. So we're through 1,000 feet. Let's put it in an autopilot, and the reason I want to put an autopilot in there is just to show you what we need to do next. So that's in. We're through our acceleration altitude, and you'll notice nothing happens. There's no leave a climb message. It's still at takeoff thrusts. So what we're going to have to do is demand it goes to a different mode. So I've pre-selected 250. I'm going to press level change, and I'm hoping it'll put the nose down and go into a level change 250 knots, which it is. We're going up to flight level 70, so let's set standard, which is set on all of them. We're going to bring the flaps to 0 shortly, and I need to set climb thrusts, 96.2. So you'll notice climb thrust was slightly higher than our flex thrust, which is pretty, it's basically the same then, isn't it? Right, above S speed, let's go flaps to 0, and away we go. We've made it off the ground. What a bizarre machine, eh? Now it has gone into nav mode automatically, which is great news. Zibid25, thank you very much for your €25 donation. Really appreciate it, Zibid. That's very kind of you. Sorry, Zibid25, thank you for your €5 donation. Getting all my words on that. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Zibid says, good flight, Captain. Thank you. Really appreciate it. Thanks for coming along. There's our last 1,000 feet to go. No worries. No traffic above us that we can see on our little TCAS panel. Quite nice. 6 nautical miles range. There you go. It tells you its range. Rusty Dog says, if you could only fly one flight sim, which would it be? Well, that's a tricky question. That is a tricky question. I really don't know. I don't know. We haven't got these aircraft obviously in Microsoft Flight Simulator yet, but the way it's going and what we should see from it look pretty exciting. But then we're going to see updates to this as well, so I wouldn't want to miss out on any of it if we can avoid it. Let's wind up that range a bit, and let's go a bit higher. Zoom, 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 zoom. So we said we're planning to cruise at 340. So let's try it out, 340. And there's no way to do it in profile, which would be VNAV, so we're going to have to just go to level change again, or we could do vertical speed. Right, let's have a look at our checklist, after takeoff climb checklists, see what I've forgotten. Slats flaps are retracted, the gear is up, and I think we can click it and it goes to neutral. Yeah. Packs on, well yeah, that one pack is running, pack 1, and altimeters are on standards. Next bit is getting set up for the approach. Good news. Domingo Michi says, legroom seems nice on this plane. Yeah, it should do. It should do. Did I close the flight deck door? Yes, we did. So we should pressurise nicely. So all you've got really is your little pressurised cabin here. And then there is even a toilet, which I know many of you will be very relieved to find out works. There you go. What more can you ask for? One day we'll have one with a sink and a flush that work. But yeah, pretty good. Okay, through 10,000 feet. Look at that rate of climb. 4,000 feet per minute. That is impressive. It's just so overpowered, even though it's got that drag. Oh, we don't have the wing lights on. What we could have done is disarm those. It's so hard to do that without deploying them slightly low. Something like that. And away we go. Tat in frequent icing range, but it's a beautiful day. Landing gear 001 says, as a real pilot, is the physics more real than X-Plane or Microsoft? X-Plane has really nice physics, there's no doubt about it, and it depends. Some of the models in Microsoft Flight Simulator are good, and some of them are just not very good. And I continue to say, and I think a lot of people agree, the ground handling in Microsoft Flight Simulator is where we could really do with some improvement. That's what I'm keeping my fingers crossed for. So we have some lower speed limits on this airplane because, of course, it's got that huge aerodynamic changes to it. So our maximum speed, I did write this down, should be 295 knots or Mach decimal 7. So pretty slow, really, pretty slow. We can see the outside indeed. There it is. I'm not entirely sure what this part is for. Obviously, well, I don't know, the landing gear's back here. I'm not sure. This looks like pack inlets. Not sure if that's how maybe that's how the A300 is actually. I've just not noticed. We haven't flown the A300 for a while. I've been meaning to on the channel, and then this came out all of a sudden, and I thought, oh no, I don't remember the A300, let alone this thing. But like I say, this is it's much simpler to get all the cargo and stuff on than I thought it would be. This huge fin is there obviously for stability. So for an airplane to be stable, there's lots of forces and aerodynamics that come into play. Something you'll notice is that this airplane has obviously a huge side profile. So if you look at it on the side, it's got all this in front of the wings, and that's not common. You're used to seeing an airliner. You've got the thin fuselage and then a big tail at the back. But what that means is you need to have more surface area on the back of the airplane than you do on the front. Otherwise, it's unstable because the wind, if you think about it, the wind's hitting the front of the airplane. If you've got loads more surface area on the side here, as the wind, let's say it came from this angle, if it hits the front here, then it's going to push the nose round. Now, if it hits the front and the back, and there's more area on the back, it gets more of a force on the back, so it actually pushes the nose into wind, which is why it can keep flying forwards. If you had a fin like this at the front and not at the back, what you'd find is the air would hit it and it would just turn it away, and it would try and spin round and have that at the back, you know, like a weather vane. So what they had to do was, obviously, you've got this bigger 340 fin, extra sort of parts to it, and then you've got these as well, which I imagine are there to help with that problem, to help keep more surface area, keeping the airplane into wind. But also, I can imagine, I'm guessing here now, I'm purely guessing, if you've got a high angle of attack, the airflow coming off this fuselage will sort of block out the tail a little bit. Maybe that's an effect that could happen here, I don't know. So you'll notice on aircraft like military transporters like the A400M, the C-130, they have a problem because they usually have a cargo door at the back, and the fuselage cuts off suddenly. So what you'll notice on those aircraft is they have a huge great fin that comes way up here, because that fin up there is there to replace the fuselage that's missing, because they have to cut off the back of the fuselage to have a ramp. So you'll notice they have much bigger fins than aircraft like this. It's to just keep them aerodynamically stable. There we go, getting up into contrails, which I know have been added to Microsoft Flight Simulator. It's all looking good. Starting to lose that ridiculous rate of climb now, 2,000 feet per minute as we come through 23,000 feet. Dr. Darinahu, good to see you. It is indeed an A300, yep. It is the funny plane, isn't it? Yeah, it is. Pack intakes, yeah. Okay, cool. Yep, you guys. Pack intakes. Yeah, I agree with that. Giuseppe, good to see you. Giuseppe says, A320 related question for you. Since nailing the centre line continues to be my weak point, what kind of deviation from the middle is considered acceptable on landing? Well, there's again, that's The only time we look at numbers is if we're doing sort of narrow runway training, and that's where there are actual limits onto how close to the centreline we need to be. Typically on a 45-metre runway, you know, being slightly left or right isn't the end of the world. The general aim for emergency procedures is to stay on the tarmac. That's the objective. I would say if you had both of your main wheels, and this is not actual information, this is purely just what I would say would be a good sort of standard, but you want to have both your main wheels. You want at least one of your main wheels on the centre line and no further. If both of your main wheels are on one side of the centre line, then that's probably a sign that you could be a bit better at that centre line tracking. But again, that's not 100% a rule. Alex UK, oh, it's about train jobs, excellent. John Padfield says, I started out with FS 2020, but when I started taking flying seriously, I got X-Plane. I've no doubt FS 2020 will come of age then. Yeah, that's pretty much my thoughts on it as well. But there's so much good stuff in X-Plane, so it's great. Yeah, they've got some fancy reflections in here. So you can also, we're going to tune our ILS, instead of having to tune it up, well, I say instead of tuning it in the normal way, we're going to tune it this way by typing it in here. And again, you can do a pre-select, so we can save it. I might try that in the cruise just to prove it works, or to prove I watched the video that tells me how to do it. Speed limit exceeded, fine. So we're going to get up to 3.4. It looks like we're not going to have much trouble with that. You can see it's just gone to 6.61. Again, no vertical profile. You've got to account for all the speeds on your own. So let me check my charts. What speed are we meant to fly? Now, I have flown an aircraft where we did this, so this is not that shocking to have to write down the speeds and have them there. It's unusual to have them on the PFD. For me, that was a great feature. I think the CRJ. Oh, would the CRJ have it on the PFD? I'm not sure. CRJ was quite nice actually because it did the sort of some Airbusy things, but it was, you know, no auto thrust or anything like that. Anyway, let's see. 0.68. See there, 0.68. That is our planned Mach number. Looks like we'll have no trouble reaching 340 straight away though. Dr. Dari Naho has a good question. They say, how much time do you spend preparing and learning an aircraft before a stream? It really depends. If I've rushed into a stream, I've ended up regretting it and not really understanding the airplane. So I will make sure I've done a flight, at least a flight, and I try and learn, you know, a bit about what's going on in the background instead of just having just the basics. But, you know, typically it is the basics from me, even when I try hard. Let's put airport up here. So yeah, so definitely a flight where I'll follow through with the manufacturer's tutorials, and I'll look up a few tutorials on YouTube and so on to make sure that there's nothing obvious I'm missing. I've got a question for you guys, to anyone who has this aeroplane. I can't get any nose wheel steering out of the... So when I assigned nose wheel steering tiller to my side stick, so I could twist the side stick for the tiller, and then I had the rudder pedals, I couldn't get it to apply any of that nose wheel steering to the nose wheel. So there should be, in the little Airbus, you get a little bit of nose wheel steering from the rudder pedals, but I can't make that work in the Beluga. So is there no connection to the rudder pedals and the nose wheel steering? I struggle to believe that, but I just don't know. I just don't know. Yeah, tricky. Giuseppe says ground handling has been improved with the last update to Microsoft Flight Simulator. That's good to know. I have to give that a go. Vladimir says, what is your squawk? What is my squawk? I think it's left on 2000. Yeah, 2000's our squawk. If you go to tune, you can see it there. Oh, there you go. And we can change the mode just on this side. T only, out on, out off, standby, TRA. So all of this stuff is pretty much nonsense as I understand it. The level offs and so on, it doesn't really know. It's all based on an A310, I believe. Astro says, don't know about the Beluga, but in the A300 I don't have a connection between nose wheel steering and rudder. There you go. Maybe it's just an A300 thing. Maybe I don't know. Let's get the terrain map on. Michael said, during your takeoff roll, you mentioned takeoff inhibit and said that's fine. What causes that ECAM message? That ECAM message is a good thing. It's a sign that everything's going well. We don't look for it ever in real life, but it's just something that does appear. What it means is the airplane knows you're taking off, so it's entered a different phase. So if we go into the MCDU, this one isn't quite the same, but yeah, there you go. It can see we're in the climb phase. So it's got climb. In the 320, when you go to progress page, which we don't have here, oh, we do have progress. There you go. Climb. It's in climb. And then we can go look at the descent forecast and so on. We can also see where it's tuned VORs. So what it's saying with takeoff inhibit is it knows you're taking off. It's activated the takeoff phase in its mind. And what it's going to do is it's going to account for any failures that happen, and it will decide whether they're important or not. So every failure and warning that the airplane can give you, maybe not every failure, but every warning the airplane can give you. Let's say a generator failed. The Airbus is smart, so let's just check it does level off. It can be quite aggressive, but there it goes, yeah. Standard 340, flight level 340. It's made it up here, and we said 0.68, please. Now this isn't quite as good. The Toliss is a better FCU system, no doubt in my mind about that. The Toliss is probably the best on the market. It's like I've got this big area where I can click in and preset, which I'm not going to use, and then I have to sort of find left or right. You just get the arrow and then you can use the scroll wheel, which is great, but the Toliss one seems to be a little bit more intuitive. Anyway, yeah, so that takeoff inhibit means that the airplane won't show us a warning that's bad for us, or not important. Like, I don't know, there's a whole list. You can look them up in the manuals for every single caution, and then it shows you which phases that caution is possible to be received at. Joshua says you can link steering to rudder or tiller. Yeah, so that's what I've done. I've linked the steering. If I go to settings, I've got nose wheel steering to yaw. But what I did was I had it set to tiller. But in real life, you can, you know, in the little Airbus, there's a combination, and I just don't know if that combination exists in this airplane in real life either. But there we go. I really just don't know. G90 says might be worth doing a quick fuel burn calculation. That is a good idea. So these predictions are wrong. So this reckons we're going to arrive. Oh, not that way. That way at EGNX. Can I see it here? I'm not sure we can. Where does it write our fuel? This, I've said this before. I find the 757 easier and more. Here's fuel prediction. Here we go. More, it makes more sense to me than the A300. Right, so yeah, 0.7 is our maximum speed, so there you go. It's quite slow, but I'm still impressed. I didn't think these things went up to 340, but here we are. 9.4 at destination. So let's have a look. How long have we got left to fly? Let's work that one out. So we should arrive at 12:11. Let's see if we can do this. This is gonna be tricky, and probably I should set. Is there a cruise? Cruise thrust. 99, there it is. Which is even higher. Oh no, there we go. Anyway, cruise. So, where's the time? It's 10:46. 12:11. So that is 1.5. So we've got 1.5 hours of flight time, just under. Our fuel flow is 1.8 tons an hour on the left. Sorry, fuel use. What am I talking about? I was going to say, that seems pretty good. Right, let's see. That is kilograms per hour times 1,000 fuel flow. So it's 2,000, 3,000, 3,000. So we're burning, ooh, wow, we are burning a lot. So we're burning 6 tons an hour. Wow. Well, that's got a lot of drag, as you'd expect. Have I read that right? 6 tons an hour. Good. So that means we are going to burn 9 tons over the next hour and a half. We currently have on board, I wonder if it says if this is linked up. Progress, fuel on board says 16.18. Yeah, seems to be calculated. Yeah, doing fuel flow plus quantity. Right, so we've got 16 tons. We're going to burn 9 tons, so that's going to leave 7 tons on board when we land. 7 tons on board, and I needed to take about 14, so that would be about right. Yeah, that would match in with my planning in my mind. But it means that we think 7 tons, this reckons 9.5, so that's not going to happen. I suppose in the descent we might save a bit, so maybe we'll land with 8 tons. But I'm expecting we'll go below the 9.5. It's possible that will constantly update throughout the flight as it realises we've overburnt. I don't know. But yeah. But again, as I said, you can't use anything in the MTDU. Oh yeah, the ETA is incorrect. That's a good point. Enter destination in the progress page. That is a good point. That is a really good point. Set forecast. It's just the winds. I suppose what I can do is have a look at my chart. What were we planning on? This should be more accurate. So, oh dear, you're asking me to read far too much into these charts. Where are we passing? That's past Chala. So it should have a time remaining up here as well. Well, we can see the estimated fuel on board that we took extra. Somewhere over here. No, we'd need to fill that in ourselves, I think. Anyway, I'll be curious to see. I mean, I wonder what it's... That time, 12:12, it's getting a bit slower. Based on us doing decimal 78, I suppose I could put in the new speed. I can't see why that would affect it. It should then know... We're going to do the whole thing in decimal 68. That's above that. Let's do 68. I might reveal, although I did slightly overestimate the time. Because now it wants us to do a speed 6.8, so maybe that will update it a bit. I don't know. I really don't know. Like I say, most of the MTD is nonsense, so you'd have to just calculate it. Swiss Pilot says, is there a door page like in the A320? Yeah, there is. Door. There it is. And you get this funky page. Shows us the air being pumped in, I suppose, to the cockpit, coming in at 24 degrees. Very nice. 24 degrees. Cargo hold, I think it just shows us the different latches, and then the access beneath, and then another cargo door at the back. Didn't know that. On the back right. Oh yeah, look, there's a normal sort of cargo door. Didn't know that. There you go. Don't know if they ever use it. Shimon says, hi, what sky colours do you use? This is all default sky. Yeah, this is just what X-Plane came out the box with. Yeah, so we can do bearing distance in here. So this is what I've been waiting for them to add to the 320 project in Microsoft Flight Simulator. So we're 454 miles to go. We're doing 328 nautical miles in an hour. So, yeah, just under an hour and a half. Just under an hour and a half. So, yeah, the timings don't seem too far off, to be honest. But this is pretty rough. Pretty rough numbers here. They would have, what you do have, and you have it on the 320 as well, and even the 350 will have versions of this. They'll have performance tables and so on. and from those you can look at it. You can choose the temperature above ISA, and so on, because we've got a strong headwind actually. You can choose the headwind and the weight of your aircraft and everything, and then you'll work out exactly how much fuel you're going to need to get you to a certain place. It's quite clever, very clever stuff. It's always amazing when you try them out and they work. Captain Bagoff, good to see you. Captain says the Beluga is what happens when you quarantine the A300 for a year. There you go. Yep. Now, I've always had a bit of a affection for this aeroplane. I've always liked it. I had a model of this exact livery when I was younger as well, so I really was happy to see the Super Transporter livery one made. This was before they adopted the Beluga name. It was originally a nickname for it, and then they took it on as their own because, yeah, why wouldn't you? It does look like a Beluga, no doubt about it. Something else that's quite cool about this aeroplane is the reason they put this cockpit down here is on the Super Guppy, the cockpit was at the front, like in a normal sort of place. So the whole front of the airplane would open like a big door, and that would all go away. The problem with that was when they then put it back on, they had to recalibrate all the instruments in the flight deck because you're reconnecting all this, I don't know, static lines and hydraulic lines and whatever else. So that was very time consuming. The magic of this one is, that door can be closing while you're loading up in here and you're ready to go. So it's a bit more like a normal airliner. So yeah, I never realised with the Super Guppy they had to do that. It's quite incredible. Yeah, I've heard, Brianna, yeah, I heard they've added contrails and apparently improved the ground handling. So I need to try that out at some point. Adrian has a good question. Does it play well with the radio panel that I've got? Yeah, I've got the Logitech radio panel, which is really useful when there is VATSIM. But let me try it out. Yeah, it all works just fine. You can see the recall one I can change just as, on my dial. Transponder. That's a good question. Yeah, transponder changes all the same as well. So yeah, it works. It works great. Let's try nav. 5. So, can I change the ILS frequency? I've never really been sure how they want us to do that on this panel, to be honest. But yeah, no, it all works great. Does the ADF work? ADF doesn't seem to be working. No, so, not the ADF, not the nav stuff, but the transponder and the radios do. So that's pretty good. Super Guppy was a good name, yeah, I agreed. Vinci. G90 says you can drop the standby compass. It has a cool animation. Click on the black circle below the compass. See, I knew you guys would know more about this than I do. So that's actually a little microphone. But there you go. I believe that's a... Oh, no, maybe it's not. Maybe that's a button. That looks to me like a microphone. And then you put your finger into this hole to pull it down. But maybe it's a release button. I don't know. There we go. This is showing you to fly. So compasses are magnetic, so when you put them in an airplane and turn on all the electronics, usually that distorts them slightly. So what they have to do when they make these things is they have to go around and they sit it in a part of the airport that doesn't have any metal objects nearby, and then they have to turn it around, and compass swing it's called, which is where they write these numbers down. So these are all perfectly in line, which is rare. Usually it'd be like, to fly north, fly 001. Now they have to do that, but honestly, you try and fly 001 on this display, and you've got to remember as well, this is reversed, so there's north, there's 030, it goes backwards compared to what you expect. Plus there's all sorts of acceleration, deceleration errors in this, as well as overturning and underturning, all this sort of stuff. So yeah, nice. That's pretty cool though. Captain Magov says, have you ever thought about changing from civil to cargo and or military? No. Military is, I'm past the point where military will be an option. You've got to go into military. Usually quite young, certainly in the country I'm in. It's more of your first career option. Plus you have to, I'm not sure I'd pass all the medical requirements, because I've never tried. Cargo, yeah, cargo, I'd do cargo. But I like flying passengers as well, so I don't think flying cargo is much different in the day-to-day terms, really. I think it's something you just get used to pretty quickly. I'm sure it's nice. I'm sure it's the same job, just more night flying, I imagine. Dr. Darian says that animation alone is worth $50. Saxon Project says, I'm a massive fan. You are the reason I bought Microsoft Flight Sim, and I've loved every minute with the A320 NX. Fantastic, the Saxon Project. Thanks so much for coming along to say so. Really appreciate it, and that's great to hear. Really kind of you. I never thought my videos would be, I never thought people would watch them and then get Flight Simulator. I always imagined there'd be people who were struggling or new to it. So that's great to hear. That's really good. Yeah, G90 compass deviation and variation. Yeah, standby magnetic compasses are really hard to use by comparison. Aero Air says, can you give me a 1 hour flight in the US? We are planning to head over to the US. We've got an aeroplane sitting in the Azores ready to go. Just got a bit more planning to do for that. Pilot guy makes a good point. Yeah, cargo pilots right now are still working as much as normal as far as I'm aware, if not more. Whereas passenger obviously not at all. Depending where you are in the world. Lauren V says, medical requirements for military pilots are very strict. USAF pilots can't even take ibuprofen without doctor approval. Yeah, I can believe it. I can believe it. Look at that shape. Fantastic. I mean, we are basically empty. I mean, I'm really empty. We've got 2 tons and that's it on board. Yet, our cruise level... No. Cruise wind. No, it has got the correct wind in. That's good. A bit more of a headwind than we thought, actually. Let me find... Where was the optimum written? Somewhere it told us our optimum flight level. Not direct to. Not in it, not reference, no. Not sure, not sure. Anyway, it basically said 340. There you go, optimum is 345, cruise 340. And I'm not sure where it's going to say the actual maximum. There we go. And that's when we're empty. Normally, you know, that'll be our maximum then. So I don't imagine this airplane ever goes much higher than 340. I'm sure it doesn't go up to 38,000 feet. Sure, surely not. Also, with that high limiting Mach, or the low limiting Mach number, that's going to be a problem as you get higher, because this green dot will come up quickly beneath you. Minus 32 TAT, pretty good. Oh, there's our total fuel, 14.8. Nice. I need to spend more time in this airplane because it's been so long. But I must say, I really like this one. I like it a bit more than the 300 even, I'd say. And I'm not saying that in terms of you should get this instead. I'm just saying, me personally, I really like the Beluga as an airplane. Look at those needles. Those are pretty hard to read. They are pretty hard to read. Like which end is pointing at the bit you're meant to be looking at. Anyway, all in the green. Nothing else exciting up here really. Fuel panels a bit changed apparently. Is it changed? I'm not sure. Anyway, it's all fine. Just turn it all on. It's automatic. There's no trim tank now. They're just center tanks, inner tanks, outer tanks, and then a whole series of valves to get it to the engines and APU. Reading light does work. Always good. Fire tests. Electrical indications. This is pretty old school stuff. You don't see this these days anymore, but you can select each electrical system and check what's going through it. But that's sort of been replaced by a more simplified version. AC electrics, there you go, equivalent of. I must say they've done a great job on the 320 of simplifying these system pages, but there we go. Oh, it's got a stick pusher, that's interesting. So a stick pusher, so when you go into a stall, what would happen is the airplane will rattle. There'll be a thing attached to the yoke, so we can see it, a little weight, maybe it's built into it. In the Boeings you can normally see it, and that will spin round. It will get supplied with electricity, spin round, that will shake the stick, and it does that when it thinks you're about to stall. In some airliners, they also have a stick pusher where not only will it do that, just before you actually stall, there's a force that applied to the stick and it just shoves the nose down. And you can override it usually if you really want to, because it's you know, it could be incorrect. But yeah, it's just interesting. I didn't know they had a stick pusher on the A300s. There you go, learning something new every day. Otherwise, not too exciting. I'm using the Thrustmaster TCA Airbus stick camera and co. Yep. Brianni says, since you normally fly a lot, do you have any pointers? My 10-hour flight next month to combat the dry air. Oh, you got a 10-hour flight. Fantastic. No. Drink water. And take some sort of hand moisturizer if that's likely to be a problem. But for one 10-hour flight, it wouldn't be a problem. If you're on a Dreamliner or a 380, that'll be nice because those have slightly, I think, slightly better air than sort of 777 era aircraft. And I say better, what I mean is they pressurize slightly lower, so the altitude in the cabin isn't quite as high. Is the trim automatic in this plane? Says landing gear 001. The trim is automatic with the autopilot, otherwise it's not. No, it's no auto trim when you're manually flying. Very much just a sort of Boeing, really. You've got your yoke, you've got pitch power couple. When you add thrust, the nose comes up. Yeah. Victor Tango says, I just read the release notes for the latest update for Microsoft Flight Simulator, and unfortunately there's no mention of setting the airport runway in the prog page. Yeah, I think that's a fly-by-wire effort. I don't think Asobo are going to add it. But what I did see is that Asobo have added track FBA to the A320. But I mean, fly-by-wire added it months ago. Was it months ago? Weeks. Maybe months by now. The only Millhouse says, my tip for flying is go veggie for dinner, and then you get served first. There you go. People have all got their ways to get through it. Lauren V says, I think the 777X is going to be a lower cabin altitude than the 78. Did not know that. That'd be quite impressive if it is. Red Coda says, have you ever dumped fuel? No, I haven't. You can't dump fuel on the 320 family. Can we dump fuel on this? Can't see any hoses. Usually there's a little hose out the back of the wing. I don't think you can. I didn't see anything on the overhead panel. That's sort of a long-haul aircraft thing, and this is a long-haul aircraft pretty much, but I don't think you can dump fuel. There's usually a special panel specifically for that. I could be wrong, but I don't think you can, and I've never done it in real life because I've never flown a plane that has that feature. Camera says, do you recommend the stick? Yeah, it's a good side stick, a good joystick for the simulator. But, I mean, there's plenty of other nice ones out there. Harley says, have you done any more flying in the Spitfire? Yeah, I did some VR flying in the Spitfire. Yeah, to give it a bit of a stretch. Practice landing it. One of the hardest things to do. Big game for exclamation mark specs will give you the specs, but I use an i7 10700K and RTX 3080 graphics cards. No dumping on the A300, says Dave. Thanks, Dave. Yeah, didn't think so. Well, if I didn't know, but I couldn't find it anyway. Nicholas says, I've noticed in the 320 the maximum air speed gets reduced. Could you explain why that happens? Yeah, that's what's happened here as well. It's become a Mach limiting. So the Mach number has reduced, and that will reduce as we go higher up now. So if I went up another 1,000 feet, this red bar would come down slightly. So the air is very thin out there. It doesn't mean we're going through the air at 232 knots. That's just the pressure on the front of the airplane. That's what the pitos can measure. Our actual true airspeed is 393 knots. So we're going through the air at 393 knots. The problem is, the air's so thin, it doesn't register properly on the instrument, so you get this sort of lower indicated speed. Now, whilst you do that, there's a Mach number. You're starting to get closer to the speed of sounds. Because obviously we're going at 400 knots now through the air. It's pretty fast. So when this happens, you can't get too close to the speed of sound, or you'll risk some sort of shock waves, which will cause you to lose lift, just like stalling. Well, not just like, but, you know, it's still bad. Now, I imagine this has a low Mach number limit because if you think of air going up over this huge fuselage, that will be accelerating quite a lot. So any air going round this surface and then off the back it will accelerate over this surface before it returns to where it was. Now, it might not go up and over, it might go around the sides. I don't know what the airflow would be like on this machine, but the problem with that is, because of all this extra surface, it's going to accelerate quite a bit. So that's why we can't, that's probably why we can't go quite as fast as a Mach number. Also the drag, you know, but I feel like there's more power to give, you know. I feel like we could get it to go faster if we wanted to, but I suspect it's limited from a Mach number from the risk of that air going too fast over those surfaces. Big Game says, is the A300 a successor of A330s or the other way around? It is the one before. It's the other way around. 330s came after this. Fly Gear says, love and Pakistan. Hope you're doing well, Fly Gear. Thanks for coming. Harley says, I bought it after watching you fly it. It is so much fun. Which was that, Harley? Oh, the Spitfire. Sorry, yeah, the Spitfire, yeah. Great. No, it is good fun. Error123 says, I love your channel. Fly-by-wire tweeted your channel's video out too. Oh, did they? I haven't seen that. I'm not very good at social media. That's what I can say. Let's see. Which one did they tweet out? That's very kind of them. We don't have a Twitter. Oh, the brakes one. Excellent. Excellent, excellent. Oh, that's nice of them. Well, they do such a good job. And they're adding some really great features that we haven't seen before. That's what's nice about that project. It's not just... You know, there's still basic things that they're working hard on that are just really hard to implement, which Asobo didn't give them or didn't provide us when the simulator launched, which is a shame. But what is nice about the mod team in general is that they come up with some really clever and fun things to add to the simulation in the meantime. And I see people say, oh, I'd rather they fix the lateral navigation instead of, you know, adding coffee cups or the printing paper or whatever. But don't forget, it's not like... I don't think the person who did the coffee cup was taken away from doing lateral navigation. You know, there's loads of people working on it and all separate teams and so on. So it's all being done at the same time. The live pilot says, how's the plane? It's excellent. Really enjoying it. We got it up here. I think we've remembered most of the systems things we were supposed to do. We got climb thrusts. I suppose we could do a few systems checks. But yeah, it's great. It looks great. Sounds great. Good fun to load. Now we can't go into the hole anymore because... if I open that door, we would depressurize. And I'm not even sure. Can we go through? Oh, we can. Oh, we can cheat. Let's cheat. Zoom. There it is. Sitting in here in the cold and dark. Oh, no, it's not actually that cold. It is heated. I don't know how it's heated, but it is heated, this area. I forgot to say. So you couldn't carry live animals, but you can carry temperature-sensitive things. Yeah, I meant to say that. How tight is this? Pretty tight. Pretty cool. God, these things are so big. Yeah, I wonder if this is like a sneak peek of the A380. Yeah, exactly, Tom. Yeah. Put down your work on it now if we need to get the coffee cups. No, exactly. There's no way. They're all just working on it. There's loads of people and they just come up with great ideas in the meantime. Have we got our lights on? Not there. There we go. I don't know if any... Well, no, obviously no one's allowed to be in here during flight. Just 3 people to fly this airplane. You'll have 1 loadmaster and then you'll have your 2 pilots and that's it. It doesn't really fly many long-haul routes either. Although it has done it. It has done it. John says there's me and my iron lung in the corner. Dr. Darren says, heated by the friction of the massive foreheads. Yeah. Yeah, I wonder how much that... I'm assuming that wouldn't be that warm to touch. Rich Tango says, was there an A310 before the A320? I don't recall ever hearing about it. Yeah, it's so similar. It's so similar. I think it has... Ooh, does it have ailerons? Anyway, minor differences. But yeah, they did the A310. I think Matteo might have answered you actually with a more complete answer, my guess. It's a wide body, similar, but smaller than the A300. There you go. Yeah, slightly smaller. Yeah, as Dougal says, the SDK and Flight Simulator is still a work in progress. I think the Aerosoft CRJ, I mean, we'll see when it comes out. I think that might show us what is possible, but they got the luxury of starting from the ground up with a lot of support and so on from Asobo, but the sounds of things anyway, or certainly some communication between them anyway, to some extent. Doing it, Vinci says, does the Loadmaster have to ride in the lavatory? No, I think there is a seat. Oh yeah, seats. So there's a jump seat. That looks like a nicer jump seat. I wouldn't want to sit on this one. This looks like the standard Airbus jump seat. So perfectly straight back and everything. This one looks a little more appropriate for a Loadmaster. Certainly someone with a title Master shouldn't have to sit in the basic jump seat for the whole thing. Something else as well. These seats, you might recognise them. They are 320 seats, or very similar to. So there you go. They were added in, not the old grey ones. Nice modern ones. But you'll notice with a big chunk taken out, because of course the yoke's got to be able to pull back into the seat, which the 320 family hasn't got the problem of. Got a nice side stick. It shows you how much thought has to go into these things, because you know, in this airplane you couldn't just glue a side stick down over here very easily. The armrest would be in the wrong place and all sorts. Oh yeah, we got this light works, but I still haven't worked out where it is. Or is it that? Is it under here? I'm not sure. To read your charts perhaps. Niceware says the A400M fuselage fits in the cargo hold. Amazing, isn't it? And I think on the Beluga XL, the one that replaced this, you can fit a 350 fuselage into it. Aero Air is flying using from Los Angeles, no, to Toliss. Is that Las Vegas to Los Angeles in the A320X? Sounds fun. Can you check current weather at East Midlands, says Brian. Yeah, let's have a look. We're going to find it's out of limits. Thanks, Toulouse. It was good fun. Don't need that. Saw that. $200 at 19. Oh, that's quite a crosswind. So Gosh says, Beluga landing at London City Challenge, anyone? Yeah. Yeah, can you imagine? I mean, it's probably got enough drag to get down the 5-degree glide slope at approach speed, but you might struggle to stop it on the runway. The live pilot says, why does this plane use a yoke and not a side stick? They just hadn't come up with that system yet. This is where they started. They changed quite a few things when they moved over. Nice where it says 2 A350 wings can be loaded at once. They picked them up here in Bremen. There you go. Yeah, we've got one of the larger cargos with the A380 tail, and I'm not even sure. I mean, does it regularly transport the A380 tail? I thought a lot of the A380's done on the roads now anyway, but I don't know. Or it was, if they're still making them. Big Game says, did the Airbus engineer a yoke for A300s for any such reason? No, I think, like I say, this was their first machine, wasn't it? The A300s. So this is where they started, and they started with a yoke. You can just sort of start to see the pedigree creeping through. So you've got, you know, this looks very similar to the 320 thrust levers, although not got the flaps. They've got these sort of more traditional style ones. Same sort of speed brake arming system where you lift it up. That's exactly the same. So that's come across. But this is a more Boeing-y park brake. You know, it's funny. There's lots of little things in here that are similar to the Boeings, much more so. They did paint it grey and not brown though. So they did break away in one sense. Straight away. Don't really need a dome light. Yeah, I thought so. Nice West says A380 shipped by water road. Blake says the A300 was their first. Was it their first? People will know. Keith B says they should have pressurised it with helium, maybe save on fuel. Yeah. Yeah, I wonder. Yep, we are an X-plane indeed. Error. Yep. ZOXH says the funniest part of any plane is the yoke. There you go. I hope you enjoyed that joke. You can chuckle at it for a while. Oh, look at that. That's got to be the trim. I've not seen a yoke with buttons, or more than one button. How funny. There you go. So disconnect it. And then you can trim. Yeah. How funny. God, it really went up fast, didn't it? Not hard to put it out of trim here. What is strange about this airplane is using the auto thrust system for landing, where it out idles the thrust on its own, which is really strange. And funnily enough, something they didn't implement in the 320. Autopilot 1. The white knob in the middle of the yoke, this just seems to do a little light that seems to do sort of the whole footwell. I'm not sure if it's this light on this yoke here. I'm not sure what it does. You can actually get rid of the yoke if you want in this add-on. You just click that and it's gone. I sort of like it. It's not in the way. Doesn't seem to change much. Ebos says the A300 was built for the American market. There you go. Oh, and I did add a wing view. I don't know if you guys wanted or not. I thought just in case for landing. If you guys want that view, you can tell me. Dr. Darian says, if needed, a pressurised container can be used to transport livestock. Excellent. There you go, they think of it all. Yeah, it's a nice machine. It's just quite fun to sit here thinking you've got that huge airplane up there above you and behind you. It's quite surreal. And this is, as far as I'm aware, the first time I've seen this, you know, a sort of a high fidelity version of this airplane added to a simulator. This is pretty cool. There's a light on the back of it. No, there wasn't anything on the back. I suspect it's in case you want to clip your charts there. It's like a chart sort of light. Because there's nothing. Well, unless it's these bulbs here, maybe, but they're normally storm lights. I don't know. Lighting in airplanes is a continuous. I think I've talked about Kent Wien's video. He's done a great video on it, where he almost complains. Oh, there you go. There's the storm lights. That'll be those ones. And he says that, you know, I understand that airplanes are very lucky to fly these airplanes, but the one thing he'd like to see is just sorting out the lights, because there's so many switches. Why can't it all be one thing? And apparently in the 777 you can sort of set the mood. You can just press one light and it will sort it out for you. So that's the storm light. I don't know if we need that today. It's called a storm light because if you're flying around and there's flashes, oh, there you go, it's tuned to VOR. There's flashes of lightning. You don't want to have the flight deck super dark if you're near lightning, because what will happen is your eyes will adjust to the darkness, and then you will find yourself you'll get dazzled by the lightning, and then you won't be able to read the instruments properly. So what you do is, if you think there's a chance of lightning nearby or a lightning strike, you might turn on the lights, and it will mean you have less chance of seeing outside, but it means if you do get a flash, you'll continue to be able to see inside. Yeah, something that hopefully you don't get into that situation, because fingers crossed you're not that close to lightning. So here you go. Can someone find me the crosswind limits for the Beluga? That's what I'll be interested to know, because I haven't found that in my the small bit of research I did. Landing Gear 001 says, imagine if they converted this to a passenger aircraft, they could probably get at least 4 floors. Yeah. But I can't imagine the amount of strength they need to put into this to make it pressurized. Yeah, that's a lot of surface area. It does make you wonder why they built the, you know, when they made this there was no A380, but couldn't they have built a 380 into a transporter instead of the 330, which is what they meant to do in the end? Don't know. Nice West says, you always can hear belugas flying over, old engines, loud whistling of the big body. Yeah, they are those older sort of engines. They're very distinctive, these engines. As I said before with the A300 engines, when you're out on an apron and you hear one of these, you really, like, you know what it is way before you see it, because you get this really distinctive noise. Domingo Da Vinci says, have you ever seen the Antonov 225 in person? No. Antonov 225, largest plane in the world, for those of you who don't know it. It's got 6 engines, but I've never seen it live, sadly. I'd love to. Quebeco wants an A380 tail view for landing. Just stick the camera in the hold. It's quite a claustrophobic sort of... Oh, shouldn't do that. Yeah, there you go. Quite claustrophobic in that sense. There's just no windows. Like, you don't want to be outside the flight deck because you've got no clue what's going on. Ah, well, there's this tiny little one. Maybe that should be our wing view for landing. Ah, that's interesting. How funny. It seems to be showing the terrain, but it's not showing the clouds until you... zoom through it. There you go. And that shows you how low down you are. You're basically at engine level, aren't you? In this whole front section. Yeah, look, that's down at the engines. Oh, maybe we should set up a view there. Something specific for the Beluga. Let's do that. There you go. That'll be our wing view. Proper Beluga wing view. Mr. Chippy, good to see you. Mr. Chippy says, can you imagine the first meeting where they looked at the drawings and designs for this? Yeah, I know. It's hard to believe no one said, well, don't do that. But they did, and it works. Jeff says, the Super Guppy regularly flew over our school on the Wirral. Then I worked opposite Harwoodland Airport for a few years and watched the Beluga flying in. So this is absolutely fantastic. Thanks. Oh, you're very welcome. I'm glad you're enjoying it. See, I wasn't sure because I knew there was a lot of news when this came out and everyone was very excited, as you'd imagine. And I didn't know if you guys there was still more appetite for another stream with it, because I know there's been quite a lot. So good to know. But that's why I wanted to do it, because I thought, well, there's people in my audience who won't have seen the other streams, who may want to see it. So yeah. There it says, the most advanced polarizing glass ever. Exactly, yeah. Just in that little door there. Filters out all clouds, you can see the ground, all fog. Uma says, are you excited for the A380? Yeah, I look forward to the A380. I always look forward to a proper 380. We've never had one. I can't wait. As well as the A320X. But, I mean, I don't know what AnyBuild's time frame is for theirs. Because before then, I've got the 340 to think about. Which I don't know. The 340 is supposed to come this year from Toliss. I also... Yeah, I don't know. Landing gear seen an Antonov 124. Still pretty good though. Pretty spectacular. I think I've seen a 124 once. Stephen says, seems it may be 35 knots. Thanks, Stephen. Malcolm. Stephen seems to have found the crosswind limit. 35 knots. There you go. Well, that ruins my chance of saying we'll have to change the wind. How do I go? No, you guys aren't making it up. Dave says crosswind limit 20 knots. 32 knots according to an interview. Okay, slightly different. 35 would be impressive because, I mean, the 320 is 38, and that's pretty high for an airliner. There's not many that go higher than that. I mean, with the last wind we had in East Midlands, 20 knots, I think 20 is probably alright. Vacuum cleaner sounds is nice West. That's a bit mean. But yeah, I can sort of hear that now you say it. Fresh Fire says, I really like the look of the Beluga. Yeah, me too. I do. I really do. It's just interesting, isn't it? If you had to describe this airplane to someone, there's things to describe. You'd say, well, it's got a cockpit that comes down, is really low. It's got a huge, like bulbous fuselage fitted on top. It's got a sort of crease down the side where the two join. It's got 3 vertical stabilizers. You know, there's stuff to talk about. Whereas there's some other aircraft. I'm looking at you, 777 and A330, where it's pretty hard to describe them. Well, they've got 2 engines, and fuselage, and wheels. That's not to say they don't look very good, but it's just nice to see an airplane that's so unique and interesting. Left 4, he says, the Beluga flies over my house to Harden. Excellent. I see them so rarely. Sometimes there's some European airports, when you're in Hamburg, you can see them cruising around there, because their airport's nearby Hamburg. Jed Thor says, I want to see the Beluga do a crab lander. Yeah, well, I suppose it'll be the same sort of Airbus crosswind technique. I can't see much difference. Paul Smith says, face reveal at 40,000 subscribers. No, sadly not, but we will do a long haul at 40,000 if we reach 40,000. Where are we sitting today? Let me have a check. Let's have a look. Oh, we're very close. We're very close to 39,000. So we're down to the last 1,034 subscribers, and then we might reach 40. Can you imagine 40,000? That would be amazing. But it's still, like, where we are is incredible. So it's not the focus, but it's nice. It'd be a nice target to reach for sure. Do remember, to all of you watching, first of all, do please hit the like button if you're enjoying the video, as it just makes a huge difference for the channel. Also, there's up here the brightness. There we go. Also, what I want to say is please remember to check out www.320simpilot.com if you're looking for guides, sort of a more compact version of the YouTube channel, which actually has a couple of guides through Microsoft and X-Plane, which I'm going to update when I add new videos to them. I've also got the links to the store, and I've got the little, you can see my specs on there, the picture of my computer and my cat, and you can see a few other things, A320X videos and so on. So yeah, www.320simpilot.com. Ollie says, surely those sharklets on the stab increase crosswind effects. So they'll give you more, give it more stability. But yeah, maybe they reduce. I mean, the downside of this is the rudder isn't that big. It doesn't look very big to me. So I would imagine that with that small rudder compared to all of these vertical surfaces and the fuselage, I would imagine it's not great in crosswinds. My guess, yeah. But that's pure speculation. Axel Jack, I'd rather not say, but thanks for asking. Hardy says the new website's great. Great, that's great to hear. Thanks so much. I'm glad you like it. Thanks, Polcaster. Yeah, the cat is very cute. She was, like I say, she was with me for the start, but because I had to use the rudder pedals for yaw to get the nose wheel steering to work, she left in disgust at how much I was moving my legs to try and steer. Yeah, that's good. That's a good camera angle. We'll leave that one saved. It did take me a while to set up all the controls again for another. That's the, someone was saying earlier, how long do you spend learning a new airplane? So I have to learn the airplane a bit, but then there's a whole other world of, obviously, the controls, which we all know is a difficult thing with any simulator. Then I've got to set up all the stream stuff, so your overlay that gives you the name of the airplane on the top and everything. I have to edit that because the X-Plane sort of input doesn't seem to give the right name of the airplane. We are on VATSIM, yeah, although I haven't heard anyone. This has been the quietest VATSIM flight we've had in a long time. I'm genuinely surprised. And I'm probably about to find out that I've got my radio set wrong. Let's get to VAT map. Well, I'll have to speak to someone shortly as we head into London. Nope, no camera plugins. Podcaster. Nope. Dr. Darian says the small extension in front of the rudder counts towards the rudder as well. And help immensely. Also see on the Boeing 737. Yeah, so that will count towards the fin. So I suppose what I'm talking about is, so that gives you more surface area, which is why that's there, as I was saying. Presumably because of this huge surface area at the front here. But my lack of knowledge is this actual rudder. Is this a modified rudder? Is it bigger than... Oh, that's a bit of lag. Is it bigger than on a normal 340 fin? Because that's apparently where this fin is from, the A340, and then modified, obviously. It does look a bit deeper, I suppose. Hard to say. You look at an aircraft like the Dash 8 Q400, that has a really big rudder, and then not only does it have a big rudder, the rudder actually curves once, and then it curves again. It's got the join in it, so it's even more effective. And that's because the Dash 8 has two huge engines blasting air over its wing. And then if one of those engines fails, obviously, you've got a lot of problems. You've got a lot of thrust on one side, but you've also got a loss of lift because the air isn't going over the wing. That's something we'll talk about if we see a nice Q400 in any of these simulators. I do have the old one, but I hear they're working on a new one, although apparently that's been a little while. Right, give me just a second, guys. I'm just going to get a glass of water. Right, we're back. I imagine the controllers are getting pretty tired. Well, not tired, but they're used to hearing belugas cruise through now. John Wells says, my buddy's cousin was recently on a plane with a suspected fuel leak. It landed safely, but was wondering if you get an ECAM memo for issues like that. Yeah, you would, yeah. So, like, again, I'm talking about the 320 here more than the 300. But, you know, we can see our fuel on the overhead panel, and I can see it's balanced. So there's two clues to a fuel leak. First of all, let's look at what we've burnt. So we've burnt 4.4 tons of fuel on each side. So that's going to be 8.8 tons of fuel burnt. So you can take 8.8 and then you add it to what you've got on board, which is 11. So 11 plus 8 would be 19.8 would be 19.8. So that's basically 20, which is what we started with. So that gives me a good clue that, you know, the fuel isn't going anywhere it shouldn't be, because we've used that much fuel, we've got that much fuel left. Now if these numbers didn't add up, let's say we added them up, the fuel used was, you know, 8.8 and the total fuel was 8, then that added up to 16, then, you know, obviously some fuel's gone somewhere. And you could also suspect maybe a fuel leak out of a pylon, because you could also find that overreads. Because what if we read this and it said fuel used 5 and 5, so, well, let's make it 6. Let's say fuel used 6 and 5. Then that doesn't add up, does it? Because you have 6, 5, that's 11, plus 11, 22. So that's an overburn. So there you might think, well, maybe there's a leak downstream of the fuel flow indicator, because the fuel is going past the indicator and it's getting confused. Of course, this sensor could fail anyway. But anyway, yeah. So you're going to check it yourself anyway, and we do regularly check the fuel. Waiting for the ECAM is not ideal. We keep on top of the fuel used quite rigorously. It's an all airline pilots will. It's just pretty important. You would eventually get an ECAM, but the ECAM won't say fuel leak because it won't necessarily know. There's loads of reasons it wouldn't know. What it might do, though, is warn you of a fuel imbalance. So here you go. We've got 1.84 and then 3.62. Now, this is a different setup to the 320 family. But what happens in the 320 is eventually when the fuel balance, I think it's when it's... Well, I'm not going to say the number because I don't know it well enough off the top of my head. But there is a number, I think it's over a ton imbalance, where it will give you a warning and say fuel imbalance. And then it will say if fuel leak, blah, 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 if not. So that would direct you into the QRH where you'll run the procedures. Yeah, good question. Oh yeah, let's get that flight director on over there. Should have them both on. Kadeko says, glass of water, what it actually means is a Viennese well. No, sadly not. No Viennese well tonight. I thought as I was running a bit later in the day, I wouldn't need one. A Viennese well will reappear in future streams, I'm sure. Adela says, did you go to a flight school or a university, and which is better? I'm not going to say exactly what qualifications I have and so on, just to keep some privacy, but you don't need a degree to become an airline pilot in the UK. If you go to university, you usually won't, your university degree won't be to become an airline pilot. You might be able to do some training as part of your degree, but usually that's not how it works. Will Aviation, good to see you. Will says, missed anything special, any excuses? Oh yeah, well, excuses. Well, we're working on one. We're slowly cooking up the excuse about the crosswind. I've made a few sort of suggestions that's going to be really difficult, and I've given some reasons why it's going to be difficult. So all I'm waiting for now is for someone to tell me that it's out of limits, and then I'll have all my excuses squared away, really. Santiago Perez, good to see you. Santiago says, how's it going? I finally can watch the stream. Work wouldn't let me. Oh no, well, I hope you don't get a job at work. But thanks for coming along, Santiago. And yeah, good to see you here. Right. Pilot guy says the extension on that fin is called a dorsal fin, helps directional stability a lot in crosswind and engine failure situations. There you go. Yeah, more effective tail plane. And here comes our control. 12942.
BWED 458, contact Brussels control 131.1, goodbye. 131.1, 131.1, BWED 458.
Yeah.
Climb flight level 310, North Shuttle 68 Papa.
Where are we going? I've been talking so long. Garmy, flight level 340. London, good evening. Beluga 260, flight level 340 to Garmy.
Beluga 260, London, good evening. Squawk 0345, Hamel 1 Echo arrival.
Squawk 0345, Hamel 1 Echo arrival, Beluga 260. We can do those things, so... what's it? 0345 4503. Good stuff. Hemel 1 Echo. There we go. Right, we haven't put that in, so let's do it. So there's Hemel. So like I said, the route SimBrief gave me was wrong. Using 200, so it would be that's 27. Hemel 1 Echo. Insert, please. There we go. Let us now fill the screen and let's run through that arrival and what it's going to involve. So, arrival, Hemel 1 Echo is their standard RNAV. It takes you from Hemel, flight level 220 there, which it's got us at 223, that's close enough. Then it's got a discontinuity to Welling. Don't know why. Join those up, thank you. Hemel, Welling, Velag, max 250, Velag below 250, you can see that minus 250, nice. Up duck, pigot, into the holds. Now we're probably not going to do that because at some point, in fact if we go to plan on here, we're going to... Let's zoom in. Up duck, so pigot to hold, but actually then it thinks we're going to go straight off to the Centrex 27. Now there is...
Speed 220 knots.
Via Rock up Piggotts. So we're going by Piggotts. So if we're doing it fully procedurally, we could leave this hold at Piggotts and fly round using all these points to head up to the approach. So either or, I'm not going to get too fussy. This is probably used if you lift the hold, but I imagine they'd radar vector us, to be honest, if there is a controller there. I'm not sure there is though, let's have a look.
North Shuttle 6A Papa, contact Brussels Control 131.1, goodbye. 131.1, good day, North Shuttle 6A Papa.
No controller, perfect, so we'll just make it work ourselves, unless this controller runs it for us.
Beluga 260, route direct Hemel.
Jet Hemel, Beluga 260. Right, direct.
GPS 18 Romeo, descend
Hemel.
level 250.
Inserts. There we go. Do that right turn. Right, so that's that plan.
201, route direct Hemel.
And finally, approach.
Direct Hemel, Eurotrans 201.
RS. DME 27, not low vis today. Nothing too exciting here. East Midlands is a pretty nice place. It's got a big cargo centre, that's why I thought we'd go there today, and I've got Orbex scenery for it, which is nice. Orbex kindly provided the scenery, so it's nice to use that. 2,000 feet platform, 300 foot elevation, 3-degree glide slope, all very straightforwards. In we come, down we go. In terms of configuring, this airplane is pretty straightforward to configure. I'm not going to do anything too exciting. It slows down quite quickly because of that drag. The only thing I did notice is, I don't know if they can land at either flap setting, but we are going to land at the full flap setting, even though we're light.
Request stay on planned route, please. UPS 360 heavy.
Then
UPS 360, roger. I'm going to have to turn you anyway. Turn left heading 080 degrees, please.
we're going to roll out, come off. Well, goodness me, it's possible at Sierra.
Turning left heading.
I might aim for Sierra and see what happens. That seems a bit optimistic.
Please again.
That is optimistic actually because of the inset threshold.
Turn left heading 080
So let's go for a low auto brake, which is that one, not mid.
Left heading 080.
Low auto brake, land, roll out, Mike, we'll see Sierra. If off here and then over to the cargo, Bravo, and we'll unload that fin. So that's all good stuff, that's all in there. Right, important things, go around, come straight ahead to 3000 or 8.8, whichever is earlier, then a right turn back to locator. So straight ahead for 8 miles, right turn back round, that's absolutely fine. So performance then, we need to think about that.
Eurotrans 201, report, sorry, correction, Eurotrans 201, descend, flight level 220, level by Hemel.
It's not on here, I don't need to do that. I need to go over to my little card, and this is what the pilots would do, and I used to have to do in a previous life, as it were. What's going on with the thrust? It's a shame, it's quite fiddly to see with the thrust levers up. Anyway, you flick over to landing, there you go, we're landing at 100 tons. It's got a VAP of 127. So important to note, that is different. So VAP's 127. With a bit of wind, I may add a couple of knots, I may go for 130. I'm going to have to select that like normal. You can see our clean speed is 184. So yeah, we can actually fly clean all the way down to 184 knots. And funnily enough, if we look in here, if I can ever get the right page first try, it would normally be the Perth page, but here we go. Here it says 202. So it's funny, isn't it? You can go slower in this airplane than you could if it was an equivalent 310. It does have the option for either landing config, but we're going to stick with 30 and 40. That's 30 of slats, 40 of flaps. I think Airbus's mission to do, or not mission, but I think the Airbus decision to do flaps as 1, 2, 3 and 4 is really good. I don't see the point of having all the different angles read out to you. It's just, yeah, look at this, 15, 20, 30, I mean, and you could just be 2, it could just be 3 in full. Which I think, I do think that is better. Dr. Darian says, can we use max auto brake because we don't have packs and we want to test the brakes? Again, I don't think it's possible. It might engage, but the big thing that could happen would simply be your nose wheel would come down too fast because they'll engage instantly. There's, in the 320 family with the auto brakes, you've got low, medium that you use. Not only does medium, so low would be the nicest one to use, it's the most comfortable for the passengers. It engages, I'm not sure the time, but you know, a couple of seconds after landing and it decelerates at a certain rate. Medium not only engages to decelerate at a faster rate, so it engages more brakes, it also activates quicker, it engages quicker than low. So max would engage even quicker, if not instantly, because it's designed, like we said, for a projected takeoff where you want it straight away. Santiago says, why does the terrain label on the display look like it was scribbled? That is a good question. Must just be the way it's done. I'm not sure if that's representative or whether that's the plugin they're using for it, but yeah, that's how it looks. That's a good point. Yeah, it does look slightly different to what you'd expect.
UPS 18 Romeo, report speed to London 127.1, goodbye.
You have indeed made it for the landing. Matt Olsen, and thanks for coming along.
Subjet 7 Lima Mike, Quizimo navigation, direct Coxie. Direct to Coxie, thank you for the
John Pepper says, doesn't look like there's anyone on at East Midlands, so will London Centre handle everything? Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
Request vectors to Coxie, UPS 300.
It's on your flight plan, it's Kilo Oscar Kilo waypoint.
That happens with in real life as well. Controllers will say go to, and they'll like Coxie is a VOR. So a lot of waypoints.
122 just right, KLM 176. Goodbye, sir. Thank you, ATC.
Oh, not there. Yeah, there you go. Waypoints are just route directs to Ipsos or wherever. But when it's a VOR, it will have. We're not actually using any VORs today. It will have the 3 letters, so Kilo Oscar Kilo for Coxie, and then it will have its name. But it's not very obvious, and on your screen it won't show up as Coxie. It will show up as Kilo Oscar Kilo. It's like Manchester. The Manchester VOR is Mike Charlie Tango. Southampton VOR is Sierra Alpha Mike. Now I know those because I know the area, but I wouldn't expect everyone to. And I often, there's a few.
Beluga 260 when ready, descend flight level 220 level by Hemel.
We're ready to descend flight level 220 level Hemel Beluga 260. Right, so there's no vertical mode. We already discussed that. So I'm going to put in 220. Oh, no, see what I mean? I do prefer the Toliss system is great. Right, 220, that's in. Now, we do have a descent arrow on here, but it's wrong. It wants us to descend at 20 miles, but actually, because we've got more drag than this airplane thinks we've got, we can descend later. So the magic is, if you did descend here, you'd be all right. But we'll descend a little bit later. We'll just test it out, see what we can do. I bet we can get a really good rate of descent. We've got speed brakes as well, so we've got everything in our favour. And now we can see our speeds at least. 127 now, yeah. I wonder if it's a prediction of what weight will be at landing, or whether that's the current weight. So we might need to check that again on approach. What else do we need to set? So we've done that. We need to put in the MDA. And we need to tune it. Very important. Don't forget, this is not the 320 anymore. Now, I think this is still a Cat C airplane. No, it doesn't matter today. 482. I don't know if that makes any difference, but we do also have the ability to set DH. Which, no surprise, is 200. Very Boeings. We don't do this unless we're doing low vis in the 320 family. Of course, we've got some of the things that you will recognise. Oh no, before I get distracted. Tune it, or we'll forget. So 109.35 is the India Echo, Mike Echo. It's a bit of a shame it doesn't pop out, this little MCDU. So tuning, ILS 109.5, I want 109.35. Thank you. I want a course of 268, thank you. And I don't think there's any way to do that automatically. You can preset, so what you could do is you could save this one. So I could go 109.35 slash, what was the course? 268 space. And it has to be the IATA code for some reason. Does that work? I think I need to type in one more thing to make it work. I did watch the video and I've totally forgotten. What was it? Okay, I'll try one last time. 10935 slash 268 space EMA space 1. Yeah, there we go. That was pure luck, I remember that. So now what I could do, let's say we had, I don't know, 110.8 tuned there, which isn't an ILS frequency, is what it's going to tell me now. Well, let's pick the other end. This is where I get nervous. I shouldn't be pressing so many buttons so quickly. It's not good for the simulator. Oh, perfect. Yeah, it's the same frequency. Anyway, basically, if I could think up an ILS frequency, which clearly I cannot, but I could put another one in there, and then all I'd have to do is put in P1 for preset 1, and it would retune that one. Then you can do that on this page alone. If you select next to it, you can see the list of them. Now, how useful that is or not, I really don't know, because you're not going to just guess it. Oh, we're losing frames. We are losing frames. Spoilers on the wings are manual. Yeah, we can deploy them. I think they're deployed now if we wanted them to. There they are.
Thank you for your services and your good job, and good evening. Bye-bye.
Everyone's been very nice on VATSIM this evening. 110.1. Thanks, Mateo. Just want to prove it works to myself, really. So we'll go to tune page. I'll put in 110.1 as an ILS. Thank you very much, Mateo. And now, for my next magic trick, what we're going to do is 101, and I'm just going to put P1. Hooray! 109352668. Isn't that amazing? Yeah, I don't know why I spent so long showing you that. I'm just amazed I remember. Right, well, we're getting close now. 34,000 feet. We passed the top of descent. Track miles to go. Well, it's 80. I don't know, maybe 40. So I'd say we've got 100 miles to go. But we are incredibly light, which makes it very easy to do this. We're quite slow, which makes it even easier. And then we have all that drag. So I really don't know what my top of descent should be. And we've lost VATSIM. Our frame rates have just plummeted, and I'm not entirely sure why. It's got locked at 20 FPS. I don't know why that's happened. I just noticed it dropping earlier, and dropping and dropping and dropping. And unless I can think of an instant way to get that back again. There we go. Let's try and close a few things over here. This was a problem I haven't seen since I haven't seen this issue. All 22. Is it just the clouds? I can't believe it. I'm really surprised. I feel like something else must be happening at my end because I've not seen this. I've not seen this since I used my laptop. $22. Is it worth trying to reconnect? It's not even that cloudy out there. I know what's happened. I know what's happened. We have Orbex for the whole of the south. But I think combined with this airplane and the clouds all together, I've given it too much to do. So maybe we'll stick off VATSIM. Yeah, the scenery loading in. Yeah, that could be it. R&B, yeah. Adrian blames the polarizing window. Yeah. Anyway, I don't think it's going to matter. There was no controller in East Midlands, so sorry. I'm sorry to those of you who flew along, but hopefully you're enjoying it anyway. What are we getting outside? Let's have a look. Yeah, we're doing all right outside, but yeah, you can see actually just through those gaps. It's annoying because it's all loaded. We've got fantastic Orbex scenery, which looks fantastic. But sadly, we don't get to enjoy any of it because we just get clouds. But when I'm on the flight deck, that is just, it seems to be a little bit of a stretch too far. Bernie Powell, hello to you. Thanks for coming. Yeah, while we're offline. That was not that was not a good idea. That was not a good idea. But that has improved the frame rate. It is the clouds that are doing it. I'm listening to load in the weather. And then I go to manually configured, and we're going to delete that cloud layer. Apply. Wowee. Right, now we should be in a more reasonable situation. Now let's try cheeky connect. That didn't go well. As you probably see if I get in trouble for that one. Okay, right. We got live weather, just a little nicer day than it is, and we've got our frame rate back. And I'll just check in. London Beluga 260. Apologies, we had a few connection issues. We are routing still to Hemel and starting our descent now.
Beluga 260, roger. Yeah, you're very high. Just 1 minute turn right, please, heading 170 degrees.
I think we'll make it in. Sorry, we're happy with the height if we're allowed to. Beluga 260.
Yeah, I need you at that level. I need to coordinate it, but you're right over Hemel now. So just right heading 170 for now, please, and I'll coordinate your descent.
Right heading 170. Would you like us to maintain any flight level?
Descend flight level 220, please.
Thank you. Descend 220. And sorry about that, Beluga 260. Cool. 170. Go on airplane. Round you go. So what he can't do is he can't connect us to the next sector at the wrong flight level. So we need to get that height off. So let's help him out. Let's get those speed brakes out, and down we go. Slight turbulence, yeah. Yeah, just a few windows errors. Right, so there we go. So I've got speed brakes out. Let's go full speed brake. Let's see what this machine does. We're in level change. Says 5,000 feet per minute.
Beluga 260, stop descent flight level 250.
Stop descent flight level 250, Beluga 260. 250 it is. Right, we'll get those speed brakes in. Look at that rate of descent. That is incredible. So what I can do now is just wind that speed back to get that nose up, because that probably suggests he's got traffic beneath us. Ah, I shouldn't have reconnected. I need to learn my lesson with that. It just causes problems for everyone. Yeah, it's all that drag. No problem reaching 5,000 feet per minute. You can reach 5,000 in the A320, but it takes a bit of effort, especially to sustain it, whereas this thing looks like it would just dive down at that.
Control Shuttle 23 Mike with you down at Southampton at stand 8, requesting transits over to Edinburgh, please.
Shuttle 23 Mike, London, good evening. Cleared to Edinburgh by Norway, Quebec.
The loadmaster's probably sleeping, Dutch there in Naho, getting ready for all the work they've got to do in a minute. Yeah, just a few Windows errors, Swiss Pilot, just a few. Let's go back to constraints. There we go.
Initial climb 70, score 5201. I think just be the departure there.
Still 2 speed Mike, cleared to Edinburgh by Norway, Quebec 41.
Still got so much drag. Look, 2,000 feet per minute, even though we're only doing 6.1. So yeah, vertical speed it is. Direct Hemel, and say again the flight level, please, for Beluga 260.
Beluga 260, descend flight level 250.
Flight level 250, direct Hemel, Beluga 260.
Beluga 260, thank you. Contact London 127.1, goodbye.
1271, Beluga 260, thanks for your help, bye. Right, Hemel. Go.
Spirit 261, London,
I feel like frame rate's going wrong again. And nav, there we go. Round we go. We're in vertical speed. 800 feet per minute. stopping at 250, so that's fine. And let's go to London 1271.
Left turn 310 degrees, easy 90001.
Oh, what's going on? That's a shame. I thought we'd solved that.
Into London
Oh well.
129, factory control, bye.
Could be that I must have some scenery somewhere. Well, I've got a few actually.
Descend 2000 feet, control 4306.
John Padfield says, I was going to say this thing is like a brick with wings, but it's actually just like a brick. Yeah. Astral Core says I have to go. Thanks for coming. See you next time.
320, it's ILS, vectors 15, thanks.
This controller is busy.
For navigation, direct Elfos, 2 kilo.
If you are turning, I apologize, it was Bay 2 Alpha or Bay 2 Alpha, right?
That was 3 of us talking. Anyway, that should be
If you are turning, sorry, it was Bay
low.
2 Alpha or Bay 2 Alpha, right?
Blocked.
Eurotrans 2587, descend altitude 4,000 feet, coordinates 999 hectopascals.
4,000 feet, 999, Eurotrans 2587.
Sky travel 4306.
Yeah, Victor Tango, I agree. This looks like an FPA. I prefer the way they've got it on the 320 where you get the full readout, definitely.
62 Romeo, you on frequency?
Okay, I'm just try checking in. Flight level 190 heading radar, heading 165.
62 Romeo, London control, Kidney 1 Golf, resume my navigation.
Right, we've got to stop at 25, which we will.
Kidney 1 Golf, Beluga 62 Romeo.
Eurotrans 201, turn right heading
There's Beluga 60 Romeo. Were they flying with us? And then there was another Beluga.
130 degrees and 180 knots, Eurotrans 201.
9001, resume my navigation, direct Elvos, Dane 2 Alpha arrival.
Second the direct, please.
The green numbers on here, there's all sorts. We've got our wind, our ground speed, our true airspeed, the bearing, distance, terrain. London Beluga 260 descending flight level, or levelling flight level 250 Hemel.
Heading 130 degrees. Eurotrans 2587, turn right heading 130 degrees.
130, Eurotrans 2587.
Covers 4306, runway 27, cut line, surface wind 210 degrees.
It's because this controller's doing, doing approaches as well. That's hard work.
Looking at 1371, contact London control 133.175.
133.75.
Good Echo says, dinner time. Best of luck, Captain. We'll catch you later. Thanks, Good Echo. Thanks for coming along. See you next time.
133.175.
Thanks, Bureau. Good to see you. And George FS Videos. No, we're not in a hold, George. We got in trouble because we disconnected and reconnected with a few FPS issues. And we were in the wrong place. We'd gone too far.
Heading 020 degrees and speed, per second speed.
Travel 2 kilos, heading 030, speed 26.
So, we know we can get the height off. This thing has so much drag, I'm not worried. It's just about making sure we're not mismanaging the descent too much. I want to check in, but if the controller's this busy, sometimes you end up just having to wait, and you end up waiting a long time, but they will contact you when they want you, when they realise I'm in the way. Oh, it says minimum set both, so we need to set our DH on this side as well. Let's do that.
Right, 270, Eurotrans 2587.
Gravity 2406, heading London 18.475.
118.75, gravity 2.6 meters.
London Beluga 260, flight level 250 to Wedding. Oh, am I in the wrong place or something?
260, London control, descend flight level 170.
Descend flight level 170, Beluga 260. 170.
Beluga 260, 6 compression 62, Romeo, when ready, descend flight level 150, level
Can we pull? Yeah, we can pull, and that puts into vertical speed. And this is the hard bit. There we go. Let's do 1500 feet per minute for now. Oh, there's another Beluga. Big Tango's off for dinner. Thanks, Big Tango. See you next time. George is attempting to go to Gatwick. Yeah, it's a busy day. Dutch Darren. Ah, the number when it sweeps. Yeah. That will be the highest terrain it's displaying. So that 010. Well, if it's the same as what I'm used to, that is. The 320 will show you two numbers. One is the highest displayed terrain, and the other is the lowest displayed terrain. But it's more permanent than this. I'm surprised to see it appear and disappear, but that's what it should be saying, is my understanding. But I could be wrong on that. Marek says, hello, we're on the same frequency, 1271 on flight to Manchester. Excellent. Harry says, choosing my A-levels, I'm quite good at languages. Would I stand out to airlines if I can speak foreign languages, or will they just post me thousands of miles from home? It just depends. It depends so much, Harry. Some airlines will love that, and some airlines won't really care. And you may get posted near where home is. You may not. You may have to move to a different country. It all depends on the airline, I'm afraid. I can't give any strong advice. There's some airlines that will, require you to speak the language. So, for example, Air France, you need to speak French, obviously, and English. So having a second language that happens to be the same for that airline could be useful. But aside from that, I don't really know, I'm afraid. Yeah, Nathan, it's pretty modern, but it does have a few steam gauges, such as our altimeter. Yeah. This is the Airbus. This is the same backup instrument you get on the 320, the ISIS. You can actually put up your ILS on there as well if you want it. You can set bugs, but not really worth it. That's the brightness. Then you can reset the attitude, and this is how you adjust the QNH. Yeah, so nice to see the Model S. You can see it shows us in meters as well. Pretty cool. Right, 40 miles to go. Oh, there's the runway. Yeah, 40, maybe 45 miles to run. Yeah, we're pretty high. We are pretty high. Let's go down a bit faster.
133.7.
Let's do 3,000. I reckon it can do 3,000 feet per minute without using the speed brakes, no problem. Evening Aviation TV UK, thanks for coming along. I hope you're doing well. I think, yeah. That sounds like Eurotrans landing into East Midlands in front of us. Flight level 80, Beluga 260. Okay, 80. 80. Let's just make sure we have an idea of what the QNH is going to be. Oh, low, hence the wind. QNH 902, yeah, that explains the bad weather in the UK. Ooh, breezy as well. So there we go. The lag is maximum 250, which is going to be fine. Look at the way it can just dive down. It's like you've already got the speed brakes out. So 40 miles from 17 just to be fine. Yeah, it's amazing. That's 2,000 feet per minute for now. And this VDEV scale, completely useless. It's just showing us what we would need if we were in an A310, I think. Mash, good evening to you. Thanks for coming along. Mash says incredibly late today, but busy evening. How's the Beluga treated you? It's been doing us proud, yeah. Very happy with it. Very happy with it. There we go. Frame rates are nice and high when I zoom in, at least. And you'll see when we land, but we have a nice tail fin up in the hold, ready to deliver. Nathan says, are you planning to fly any of the 747 variants anytime soon? Well, I wish the default one in Microsoft Flight Simulator was sort of working well, but last time I tried it really wasn't, so... And I don't know if there's any other fully fledged ones. I used to fly the 747-400 in FSX in PMDG back in the day. Right, so we're heading towards the hold at this rate.
What London gave us anyway.
Velag, upduck, hold, Pigot. I'm a little surprised it hasn't drawn the extensions. The 320 would draw like a line around there, obviously. Like it would show you where it's actually going to fly. But I need to work out how to hold. Pigot. Oh no, don't do that. No, 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 no. Flight plan, there we go, that's what I need. Pigot. Hold. And then it would be from Pigot, 185, left-hand turns. Normally there's a database for this, but there you go, 185 at Pigot. I need to change that. Left.
Right, 060 at that's 2,500 to go for one.
And it's done time, so it's doing it on 1 minute legs. Now it looks to me like this is, it says 5.5, so it says
Standard control, good
4.
evening, Alpaca 14 Charlie on the ground at East Midlands, request clearance to Munich.
Let's do 5.5. Oh no. There's another Alpaca going to Munich.
Cleared Munich, 73 November.
There we go. 5.5 miles. Insert. And now we should have a hold there. Left-hand turns. Yep. So there we go. That's all done. That's how holds work in the Airbus. Pretty much the same as the 320. Axel says, have you done a video on hold and hold entry? I do in X-Plane, not in A320X yet. The frames on this bird are fine, Justin. The reason I'm getting bad frame rates is I've got so much scenery loaded in. We've got special scenery for East Midlands. We've got Orbex for the whole South UK. And then we have the clouds, which I tried to get rid of, but they've returned. Well, we may as well reduce that descent, because at this rate we're going to be turning back round. So in real life I'd expect to go straight to the RS from here, really. So we're reaching 10,000 feet. Still flight level 8. Vectors RS 27 heading 320 degrees, Beluga 260. I don't know how they do this. Anyway, heading 320. Oh, I could have updated this a bit earlier. I think you can press it actually. Yes. Heading selects. Still descending. Let's get the ILS up. LS. LS. Let's get those landing lights on. And there we go. Going through 10,000 feet. Checkpoint says time to get that 3090 and sell your 3080 to me. Send 6,000 feet, QNH 992 hectopascals, Beluga 260. Okay. Let's get down now then. 6,000 feet. Let's get some vertical speed going. 250 knots inbound. Now we just get that speed back as well. So let's do 220 knots. And let's set the QNH. We're going to be a bit lower than we think. This is the dangerous one. Because we actually much lower. We're all the way down here. I have synchronized them. So 992, there it is. And let's run the approach checklist. Dear me, 15 miles out. I mean, we're not going to make it straight in here. He's going to have to turn us away a little bit. Just because we didn't get all the descents. Right, signs are set. Briefing confirmed. Decam status checked. Altimeters are set. Both minimums are set. Both ignition is. Oh, it says continuous relight. Landing. Elevation set. Right. Oh well, we can do that. So that will go continuous relight. And we've got landing elevation set in there. We're going for low water brake so we can make it along to the next exit, hopefully, so we can go to the cargo terminal. So it's sequence to Pigot. I'm going to do it direct to CF27. Insert. And it doesn't automatically go into nav in this one. The modern Airbuses do, but there we go.
Dead red, please record for
And we're going to level off at 6,000 feet, which is there.
1 quarter.
I'm not sure what this vectoring is going to be,
Beluga
unless
260 descend to altitude 3,000 feet.
it's actually 3,000 feet, Beluga 260. 3,000 feet, 10 miles out. I mean, we can't go straight in from here. Have I got this right on my screen? Runway 27's 10 miles away yet? I'm not sure what the plan is. It did say runway 27. Oh, there you go. Matt says even with 3090 you can get the frames low enough to get kicked off that sim. Yeah, this is a weird one. I'd expect it to a right turn now or something like that. I mean, we could dive down quicker, but there's no way we can do straight in because this vector is going to take us straight. You know, we can't inset the ILS that late. Unless I've got my ranges completely wrong in my mind. And Beluga 260. Sorry, what's your plan for vectoring us? Which way round?
Beluga 260, I'll be taking you through the localizer to establish on the north. You've got about 2 track miles.
Copy. Thanks very much, Beluga 260. There you go. That makes more sense.
I might confirm it's direct stopping.
Let's do 400 feet per minute. 220 knots will be fine. Bit of cruising around.
Salted, ready for flight.
80 Hotel Victor, descend flight level 200 to be level by descent.
320 degrees must be your favourite heading, says Adrian. Yeah, exactly.
Round 9 Bravo, descend flight level 900.
Landing gear says normally my frame rates are about 6 to 20. Yep.
Correction, descend flight level 120.
About 120, 9 Bravo 0.
Martin Scott says look forward to seeing the landing. Yeah, me too. Yeah, good point.
Sorry, 1 Romeo Oscar 39
I feel like
inbound keypad.
we need to put some winds in as well. So we've got 30-40, we've got 130, which is probably what we're going to do anyway.
Sorry, 1 Romeo Oscar.
I'll do final approach later, but I don't think that matters. We're not going to add any wind correction. We'll just select the speed.
When ready, down to 290 for 1 Romeo Oscar. Beluga 260, turn right heading 090 degrees.
Right heading 090 degrees, Beluga 260. Now we could have we could have done a straight in, but no one told us to. So
You return to 201 on the blocks. Thank you for service, and have a great night. Bye bye.
there we go, 090, heading easterly. Oh, I just got a very kind message. Thank you very much to the person who just messaged me on that sim. Thank you.
Descent flight level 200, put the 2 Lima Kilo.
The Harmony that says, where do you see your distance to top of descent? You can't, because the top of descent the aircraft calculates is nonsense. It's designed around the wrong aeroplane. They didn't modify the software, so yeah, you just have to work it out yourself really. But basically, here we go, coming around now, back to CF27. But yeah, basically you can you just have to calculate it yourself, sadly.
Alpha, flight level 96490.
57 Lima Alpha, on the control hello vectors, Alice approach, runway 25.
Now it is a 2,000 foot platform at CF27, so we could be asked to get down quicker. So let's get down. I don't want to miss our opportunity to get in here.
Level 100, Ryanair 9 Bravo 0.
Looking to the kilo, contact the control 133.7 by
1337, bye bye, put the 2 Lima Kilo.
Beluga 260, turn right heading 180 degrees.
Riding 180 degrees, Beluga 260. Here we go, we're going to cut in now. Riding 180. Entering the clouds. Where's the icing stuff? There's engine anti-ice. Go with that for now. Let's get rid of that. Right, let's slow down. So this says a clean speed is minimum of 200, but we know we can actually go a bit slower. We can all the way down to 182. And that speed has reduced, so this is just a current update then. Now it's 125, it was 127. So we'll do about 128, I think, of the app with the wind. First stage of flap then. Flaps to 1, and they come. Speed limit 250. Sorry, Reese YouTube, if I've been confusing. Yeah, good point, Simon. I wonder if the Beluga XL A330 has similar gaps in the system. Yeah, good point. There we go. 3,000 feet.
Roger, currently 6,000.
Slow down. 180 knots. Our S speed is 174, so we'll go down to about 180 and then put up the next stage of flap. That'll be fine. You can see that the airplane thinks. I mean, they're pretty close. What I find interesting about this is it's not surprising that this doesn't work. And you can see that they've just made the vertical profile inop, so you don't even try it. But I'm surprised that you still have it displayed on the PFD. That seems misleading. We need to turn right. We really do. We're not going to get on this RS. Riding 300, descend 2,000 feet, cleared ice 27, Beluga 260. So that's coming back up from the south again, 2,000 feet in here. Let's pull the vertical speed. Oh, see, this is what I mean. It's so much better, the Toliss one. I wish, yeah, that could just become the standard. So vertical speed minus 600. It's climbing slightly. I won't arm it until we're pointing back towards it. So there's our RLS. Okay, now we're intercepting it. Let's go land. Let's engage the other autopilots. And now we should see it spring to life pretty quickly. Because that's quite an aggressive intercept from close in. There we go, lock star. About to get glide slope star. Let's get the next stage of flap out. We're going to use full flap landing today. So we don't really need to get out to 2,000. Clear land 27 Beluga 260. Thank you. 8 miles out 180. Let's slow down a bit. 160.
Heading 360 degrees, Alpine 573 miles.
Down we come. Okay. Landing checklists to come. Nathan says, is parasitic drag a real thing? Absolutely. That's what all this fuselage is giving us. Parasitic drag. Right, it's sort of accelerated. There's 160. We said we're going to do about 120. What? 125 VAP. So we said about 128. I'm just going to select that now. Let it come back on the speed. It's got loads of drag though. Don't think we'll have any trouble. We're at 6 miles doing 160, so that's fine. Let's put that gear down. Gear down. Arm to ground spoilers. Get the last of these lights on. Oh, taxi for landing. Okay. Next stage of flap. Yeah, you see, it's immediately back on the speed. No problem. And we'll go to full flap. Right, let's set that go around altitude. There's the NDV we're passing. 3,000 feet. 3,000, there it is. We're already cleared to land. We said 128 VAP, which is what we're doing. We've got full flat. Pitch is a tiny bit lower than I expect, but there we go. Isn't the fuselage form drag? Yeah, I mean there's lots of different names for it, but there's induced drag, which is drag caused by lift producing. So you get drag when you generate lift, so the wings cause that, and then you've got parasite drag, which is just sort of stuff sticking out in the airflow. That's the most basic way that I refer to it anyway. Right, landing check this time. Landing gear is, let's just double check that, that's down, we've got 3 greens. Auto brake is on low. Anti-skid is checked, slats flaps are full, and spoilers are armed. That's the landing check's complete. Right, let's give it a go. See what we can manage here. Ooh, I'm getting serious frame drops now. There we go, yeah, 2.5 degrees on the pitch. That's sort of stabilised where I'd expect it. And remember, we carried a little bit of speed for that wind. I might knock that back now. It's not too rough. You only need that extra speed if it's rough, really. So 125, so There's 126. So we can leave the auto thrust in, and it will idle, and we just need to idle it when we land. So that's pretty good, and select reverse. So we'll do that. Let's bring up that PFD. That's a bit big, isn't it? Let's shrink it down a little bit. Put that down there. There's the land mode engaging. Horrible visibility. Getting a bit low. Autopilot off. Press it twice to clear that caution. And I'm expecting it. I need to remember to keep trimming as well. I'm expecting it to idle for me. Let's see if it does. Wind from the left. Oh, get to that flare. There's a flare. Bit of drift off. Let's not go any more downwinds. There's a touchdown. Select reverse. Oh, it's taking a lot of rudder to keep that on the centre line. There's the reverses. Should have the spoilers out, which we do, I think. Yep, there they are. Oh, that's too much rudder. Right, 70 knots. Reverses to idle. Let's get taxied up to the apron. God, I can really feel that wind. Right, well, we've got a replay of that coming up shortly for those of you interested. The water brake is still going, so let's go manual brakes and get ourselves off here. There you go. So if I let go of the pedals, I'll show you guys. I've let go now. That is just the wind. You can even see it giving us some bank. Oh, I feel bad if that's me. Nope, it wasn't. Right, here we go. Left here. And welcome to a rather rainy and miserable East Midlands. Fantastic. That was great fun. Loads of traffic here as well. Lots of alpacas, so yeah, there must be some event going on we've missed. So there was someone waiting to take off, I think. And we're going to go and park somewhere over there. Cargo apron. So this is the Orbex scenery they kindly provided, which is good. It's got the proper tower, the windmills, the proper terminals. For getting the runway strobes off, yeah, I think they went okay. I think they went okay. Sounds like it went okay from you guys. Excellent. Squeezing the brakes. Facts about the Danish Army says, good landing, bro. Thank you. Thanks. There's a 5 says 164. There you go. As I always say, you know, that's not the be-all or end-all, but it's. I know it's fun to have the vertical speed up there. Right, let's get rid of those speed brakes. Get this flaps in. There is a replay coming, guys. Don't worry. We will get to see that from the sort of makeshift wing view we've invented today, as that's the nearest window we could find. It'd be really strange to see it from there. And we're going to go and park up. Let's get the APU online. Engine anti-ice. Yeah, I might keep it. It's raining out there, so good there. Yeah, if you did enjoy, do please hit the like button. It makes a big difference for the channel. Really appreciate it. Juliet Bravo 100 Beluga 260. Thanks for your help. Goodbye. Okay. He sent us the other way. I'm just going to disconnect from them. I feel bad, but it's yeah. I've already started this way. He was sending me over to the terminal, but we're going to go to the cargo. Well, I think he was anyway. Oh, maybe not. Maybe I jumped the gun there. Maybe that would have been all right. That was a central apron. Yeah, I think it would have worked, actually. I shouldn't have done that. Anyway, east and west aprons. I'm not sure. Anyway, we're just going to park up wherever we fancy to unload our tail. Oh, better stay on that runway. Taxiway. Pete White says, nice smooth touchdown for a brick with wings. Yeah, it wasn't bad. So, not going to spend too long on this. Let's get ourselves over there and we'll start unloading that tail. Bit of a tricky one now, because I want to show you the tail, but then also I think we'll start the process and then we'll just reset it and do the replay and see if that works out for us. But yeah, I really like this airplane. I think this is a nice add-on. It is quite pricey for one airplane, but if you already have the A300... Actually, okay, I won't comment on the pricing. That's not for me to comment on. But yeah, it is a nice machine to have, and I really like this airplane. Like I say, really fond of it anyway. So we're going to go and park up just somewhere random on this apron because there's no way to unload it if we face a terminal. So let us... I know what we'll do. We'll do a big U-turn here and just park up over there. That'll work for us. APU, we should have pressed start already. It does bounce around. Remember, it is basically empty. And we'll do a hard right turn here. Get the last of the lights. They should be off anyway. Taxi lights off. Wing lights off. APU's coming online. Oh yeah, Swiss pilot. Yeah, no, this taxiing is abysmal. But don't worry, this is not what you'd expect to see. Especially a machine this size. I bet they go around very slow. When you can, slats versus flaps. So, yep, slats allow you to have a higher angle of attack, so you can get more lift out of the wing, but it doesn't give you more lift at the same speed. It just allows you to raise the nose higher and keep getting lift out of the wing before you stall. Flaps give you more lift out of the wing, even at the same speed, but they don't allow you to go to a higher angle of attack. Right, that's good enough. We'll just say this was where the specially planned special flight of the Beluga to East Midlands to drop off this special delivery of a British Airways A380 tail was told to park exactly here. Park brake on. Engine anti-ice can come off. APU is available. Let's shut it down. Hopefully that APU takes the power, and we'll go to EFB, ground ops, ground services, loader. Requests loader. There it is. They're opening up upstairs. Let us go and well, we'll turn off the last of the lights. Don't need the beacon. Got our engine spooling down. You can hear that the electrical whine of that motor upstairs. Okay, it's all happening. There we go. Got the lights on. So this will come up, and fairly soon that tail will come out. Now, who wants to see the replay and who wants to see this? Dr. Darian says, just leave the keys under the wheels, they'll know what they're doing. Yeah, exactly. Dougal, thanks. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Thanks for coming along, everyone. I hope you enjoyed the video. Really great to see you all here. And yeah, if you have enjoyed, do hit the like button. In fact, so many of you have. That's very kind. 378 likes. Fantastic. Thank you. So we've got to show you guys, right? People loved it at the start. So let's get that tail off there, and then we'll go and do the replay. Yeah, the Beluga Parks everyone. Exactly. Who's going to argue with us? What a miserable day in the UK. It is like this though. Loader coming out. It's a strange view, isn't it? This replay. I want both. Replay. I do. Okay. Well, it's 50-50. So yeah. So what is nice, as Windows XP says, is that you get whatever you put on stays in the airplane. The weight is applied, and you get the full experience. We can, while they're doing that, let's just get these stairs open. Now, goodness knows what this is going to do to the replay, but we'll find out. Oh, actually, we need to go back here, and we're going to have to press unload when it becomes available. So it's clever that it knew I wanted to unload, so it didn't just do it straight away. Because I thought it might just spawn with something else on it, but it knew I didn't want that. It knew I had something on board, so it's quite neat. They've done a very good job with this. I'm not sure what else we need to do here to convince it to get closer, though. There it comes. Not long now, I promise. Ed E says, getting ready to update my sim. Should I move stuff out of my community folder first? I haven't been, I must admit, but I'm not sure if that's a good idea or not. FIFA says, I saw you landing. I was the Eurotrans 201. Excellent. Thanks for coming to say hi. Santiago Perez says, how long do you think a normal turnaround for a Beluga is? Goodness me, that's a good question. I bet a while. Like I said, they've done a good job with this hood because you don't have to recalibrate the instruments or anything, but just I'm not sure if this has been sped up or not, the way these loaders move and everything. They seem pretty quick. Pol 9 says, hey there, cool to see you flying Beluga. Excellent, glad you like it. I love its presence on the ground. The way it's got that low nose sitting there and everything, it all looks so convincing. Look at the size of that tail hidden in there. Just makes me want the 380 more and more. Okay, replay will be coming soon. I promise this won't take long. Thanks for the 400 likes. Really kind of you guys. So in a second, this will all join up. It'll all match up perfectly. It's like a really satisfying Lego. Dodge Darian says 1 hour 20 to 2 hours under optimum conditions. There you go. That's amazing. 2 hours. You know, you can take that long to do it in a passenger plane. Right, that's on. Unload, please. It's gone green, so it's happening. Now this could really mess up the replay. So we may not get a replay, we'll see, but I'm going to try. I think it's going to work. I imagine the Loadmaster stands here, and off it goes. Look at that, even got all the metal reflections on the tail. Nice. Delivered safe and sound to East Midlands where nobody needed it, most likely. I imagine the engines are more powerful than the 320, certainly, yeah. Phil says some airports can only handle one Beluga every 30 minutes. There you go. Look at that. Very cool. And there you go, guys. So that's it. You can get the full experience now for the product. So, you know, like I say, I bought this product. It wasn't sent to me or anything. We bought this here on the channel, so it's my own opinions on it. And if you like the Beluga, they've done a fantastic job. I mean, they've caught all the big aspects of it, and what's great is that this, especially, they really captured what they needed to, which was the whole outsized cargo aspect of it, which is excellent. So what's going to happen now? This is what I'm curious about. I'm just going to try and save it. Let's go reset, Alt R, and see what happens. Doesn't seem to be waking up either, so that's easy to solve. I know what to do here. We are going to go and that's closing. That's going to close, and it's getting time to say goodbye. So what we'll do is we'll do a replay from the outside like normal, then we'll do our little wing view and the finale. Eddie says, well, that's very cool. Glad you like it, Eddie. Back in our seats. So we're ready. This is closing. Slowly, slowly. Dougal says, thanks so much. Awesome stream with wonderfully behaved to chat to. Excellent. Thanks for coming and moderating, Dougal. Great to see you here again. Thank you. Yeah, it should be an interesting landing because we were starting to drift sideways and I had to put a lot of rudder in, more than I expected. And I even had to put a bit of interwind aileron. I say even. In the 320, you don't really need to do it that often, but it is... Is that running on the electric pump? What's running with it? If I just reset, what happens there? No. Yeah, whereas in the A300, because it's a conventional aeroplane, there's no normal law changing things. I suspect in fact, I'm sure you'll have to do it all yourself. You know, you get the yaw and the drift. With the 320, you don't have to worry about it so much. It's really nice design. Come on, people are waiting. Let's get this roof down. Pol 9 says Microsoft Flight Simulator in VR is so amazing. Looking at the ground from height is mind-blowing and turns into a horror game for me. Yeah, it is. Having the 3D aspect is amazing. Max Drag Config says, Touchdown Naho. Yeah, that would be quite something. I imagine the whole top wouldn't last very long like this. Aviation says, seems windy in the UK, at least in the south. Yeah, we had 20 knot crosswind on landing, which is quite breezy. That's one of the more breezy approaches we've had on the channel. It wouldn't be too bad in real life. In real life, 20 knot crosswinds are pretty average for the 320 family. Not average, but they're not too exciting. Once you start getting over 25 and 30 knots, then that's pretty rough, yeah. Chris Patton, thanks for coming. I'm glad you liked it. Drew says, real life Beluga pilot someday? Yeah, that would be great fun. I don't know, not many people get to do that job. Wilmar says, thank you, very interesting to watch. That's great to hear it, Wilmar. Thanks for coming along. Really appreciate it. So this is almost finished. That last little grin. I like that the lights stay on as well, even though I did that. Done. Let's get this to the right points. With clouds and Orbex all together. There you go, you can see the drifts. So yeah, crosswind in this is really less than ideal. That is a lot of drift. Let's go view external runway. Let's have our first peak. Look at it coming in on the approach. That's cool. Very cool. I like that. Like watching paint dry, only slower. Yeah, exactly. You can see the wind blasting the jet wash or the exhaust off to the sides. It's a bit of an early flare. That early flare caused us to start drifting. So we got the drift off. Yeah, just settling on. It's a wet runway as well. There we go. Look at that silhouette. Brilliant. And then there's my rudder. I had a bit of difficulty with the rudder at this point, trying to keep it straight. I wonder if what happens there is the nose wheel steering. So the nose wheel steering will be disconnected when you're at high speed, and it will re-engage at low speed. And that's why I'm hoping to find out a way to not have the nose wheel steering tied to the rudder. It's not ideal. Only when it's got a little bit of control, but like this, it's got too much. You can see it. It suddenly bites. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure about that. That's not ideal. The setup I've got here. But yeah, there we go. I can't. That view is so bizarre. Bounce, and then it needed that little interwind later on. Yeah, very good. Cool. So yeah, definitely a bit of an early flare. It's just so light, it just didn't need it. So that's something for me to remember for next time. Right guys, it's time for the outro music. So let me go to the ending and hide the music for you. Let's put the airplane back on approach. And I'm going to say thank you all so much for coming along. Thank you very much to those who've kindly donated towards the channel. Thank you for everyone just chatting and the moderators for taking the time to come along and moderate. But thank you everyone who's just watched and liked as well. That's really appreciated. Thank you all so much. And I'm going to leave you with our custom Beluga view. And I'm going to say thank you. Have a great evening. Keep safe and well. We'll see you again in another video or live stream soon. Bye bye.